Hello and welcome to Winning Saturday Night. How's everybody doing out there? We got a very special Repairing History edition of Winning Saturday Night, and I got a whole bunch of special guests with me this evening. Introducing Gary Lamb up in the top right there. I guess that's how everybody's saying it. How you doing? We got Wallace P, and we got Erica P, and we also have Mrs. Lamb there, back there somewheres. All right. Guys, thank you so much for being here, man. It is amazing.
I appreciate you having us on as well. Definitely appreciate
it.
Thank you.
Pretty much like I'm looking forward to this conversation because I feel like we can basically reach out to a lot of people and try to find remedies of the topics that we're going to be speaking about. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation that we're going to have tonight. So
well, me as well. It's been a journey. It's been a journey to get here from the Repairing History to the whole concept of the channel exactly to Repairing History to here. Now, I've been a fan of Gary Lamb's for a long time. He's on mute. He's working on something on the back end now.
Yeah. I'm always working on something, man. Always. I can't help it. I'm constantly working on stuff.
Yeah, man. Hardest working man in the business. Yeah, but I came across this stuff when he had his video that he sent out to Tim Pool read on air, and that's how I first came to know of Gary Lamb. And then I looked into that video and I looked into his channel more, and when I started seeing, I really dug. So I was immediately a subscriber and a follower from that point on. And what I believe what him and his wife were doing was very important work. And but then I come to know you guys through Gary Lamb and what you guys have been doing lately, because I remember I popped in there and said, Gary, there you are. Because I've been looking for him. I switched over to this channel and I hadn't had him on. I hadn't seen him in a while. And I was just like, man, I got to remember all the people I need to add. Right. And I came across the Matters of Opinion. And there he was. I was like, oh, man. Yeah. All right, we're back.
And I remember that. I remember that live too when you popped in and everything like that too. So yeah, I'm glad you popped in because they're at this position where we're at now, where we all could sit down, break bread, and have these tough conversations. So definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you'll see some of the people here in my chat tonight that were.
What's up, Thomas? How you doing? What's up, Prince?
Yes, Thomas Anderson. Yes.
How you doing, Thomas?
Trash and truth. Ooh, talking trash and okay, I like that. Talking trash and truth. I like it. Who else we got in here? T-Rex Trucking and more. Oh yeah, this is
a trucker friend of mine. We do some drive-by. We do some driving streams sometimes where we're just sitting there watching them drive. We just talk and we see. I'm hearing that, Gary. There's a little bit of echo on your end, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. This is my wife's mic. Hold on.
Okay. We do trucking streams. Like he drives, and we just sit there and chat as he's driving, and we point out stuff on the road we see. Because I used to be on the road as a musician, and so I like to take the road trips. You know, it reminds me of the day. Right back in the day.
Gotcha.
And so we do that. Yeah, we do streams together sometimes. He's a busy man though. But yeah, I got that and a bunch of other streams I've been doing. But I want to give everybody a chance to introduce themselves and talk about what they do, so my audience can get to know you guys. And I'll be obviously talking about what we're doing here at the channel, so that your audience can get to know me as well. So let's go ahead and start with you guys, and we'll let Gary get his sound worked out.
All right.
Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go. So the show that me and Erica P run is Matter of Opinion. And pretty much it's a debate show where we speak about current news, relationship, myriad of different topics. We take those topics and we debate about them and give different perspectives on them. And with the debating process of said topic, we also try and come to a resolution on how to not make those mistakes or whatever the case may be, depending on the topic. But we try and find resolutions towards whatever it is that we're debating on. And yeah, that's pretty much what we do. Because when we looked at other channels, when you see two people on a panel, most times they agree when it comes to speaking on topics. But we have a different dynamic where we debate on it, give different perspectives, and that's pretty much what we do on Matter of Opinion. So
Okay.
yeah,
No,
definitely check
yeah.
out the channel, subscribe.
And what I do is I talking about relationships and bridging the gap. That's pretty much the whole point of Winning Reality, bringing me onto his show, and us, collaborating this way so we can bridge the gap. There are many things that I feel can be easily fixed with just having a conversation. I believe in humanity to be able to do that. I don't believe it's too far gone, because if it was too far gone, we wouldn't be having this conversation at all. There won't be any internet. There won't be any electricity. There won't be any of that. We'll be, going at it. So obviously we have more sense to just, talk about it. And I think we need to do that. And many people came to know of me because of Trump and Tim Pool. So I continued the march. I just decided not to do it the political route because I was getting hammered. So I figured, let me try it another way. And I fumbled and bumbled a little bit, but I caught an audience, and I said, let's go ahead and rock with this audience and go from there. So I'm trying to bridge the gap. I want to learn more about history, but at the same time, I got to get everything taken care of. What up, Black Sheep?
Black Sheep Dog.
So there's a lot that goes on when it comes down to it. And if you want to come over and have a freaking conversation, a laugh or two, because I do skits comedy. I do a lot of stuff for you guys. I put on music every now and again. I'm gonna try to get a full stream that's dedicated to just music on the channel. Soon I'll have that ready to rock and roll. But listen, we ready to rock and roll. Let's do it. Love the YouTube shorts, Gary. Truly appreciate it. Truly appreciate it. So back to you winning.
Yes, sir.
I was just gonna say this also. Every Saturday night, Matter of Opinion and Gary Lamb Network, we do have a collaboration, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 9 p.m. Central Time. And those conversations are usually about relationships and things of that nature. And I just want to point out the main reason why having these conversations with relationships is very important, because the better relationships that we have, as far as bringing back that traditional family and nuclear family, the better things will be in society as far as our communities. So that's why I feel relationship conversations is important, because a lot of people will look and say, oh, I'm not interested in speaking about the relationship, but everything comes down to communication in relationships. So
I think a lot of people really make a mistake of ignoring your relationship. Because
yes.
the bottom line is, the only way you can have an amazing relationship with women outside of your relationship is having an amazing relationship with the woman inside your relationship. I don't take ish from no woman. I don't give a rips who. I don't care. I don't care. I don't do it. I don't. But that one right there, take a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like you get to a point where it's like, all right, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I gotta come back here and argue with you about something that don't matter. Nah, it's not happening. You know what I'm saying? When you learn how to work with other women like that, like, you sound like my wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, that be that thing. See, Black, he always trying to, with the popcorn. He wants to be the fly on the wall out here, watching us argue and stuff. But no, we try to bring the calm and collected. Sometimes we might have a heated discussion. That's what we call an argument in our house. And we might have a couple of those, but we get through it.
Exactly.
And I think we can do the exact same thing when it comes down to this racial issue. When it comes down to making white people feel obligated to fix the black man's problem. You don't even understand the black man's problem enough to even agree. So how can you fix our problems? You don't understand them. I'm not expecting you to fix them. I'm expecting you to listen. But there's another caveat to that. How do we know what really happened when we don't have all the pieces? So that brings us right back to winning. I've been wanting to bridge, because there's a lot of history that we do not get taught in history class. If I knew that there were black people who owned slaves when I was 7 years old, I wouldn't look at white people the same way. I'm not saying what they did wasn't horrific, but I wouldn't have look at them the same way. It would have been more of a, well, that was just how business was back then. And once I see it that way, it's like, all right, cool. If this is how business runs, I'm in the wrong business. You know what I'm saying? I'm on the wrong side of the business. I'm gonna get on the right side of the business. You know what I'm saying? Let me get me some people that like to work for money and have them do the stuff I don't want to do. You know, so once you get that mentality in your head, it's like I can see why people say the things that they say. They don't know. They just don't know. So
that's what Thomas is also great about. You know, that's what Thomas is also great about. He's great about bringing back and putting those omitted parts of history back into history. And that's why I feel like he's so important. He's like, dude, Thomas Sowell is such a hero, man. And he's like one of the most important intellectuals of our time. I mean, the dude's brilliant. You know, he come up. It wasn't easy for him coming up, but he made it. You know, he never let anybody make him feel like he couldn't do anything or that he was a victim. He always just fought through and used that brain of his. And he didn't always make the right choices either. Sometimes he made mistakes. He was into Marxism for a while, but he went to government for a year and decided that, you know what, that shit's wrong. I'm changing my ways. I'm going this other direction now. Right. And then he dug into that and talked about the history of that and how that came into the Black community and how that was so impactful and what the plan was behind that. So my series, Repairing History, follows that timeline. Right. And I actually walked it backwards. I didn't go from the very beginning to up to present. I went from present backwards. So that way we had a different perspective on it. Right. And we could, and by the time we got to the end of the series of that part of the historical part of the series, right, we're talking about how slavery was this thing that was going on for centuries with all kinds of people. It was never about race. It was about viewing people as property, no matter what they look like. It was an elitist mindset that some people are better than everybody. Don't matter what you look like, what your sex, what your race is, anything like that. That they believe that they're just better than everybody because of the way they were born or who they are, you know, their status.
Well, who they were born with. Like, listen.
Okay, let me ask this, because I understand that dynamic of slavery where it's like, you know, that was just something that was going on culturally around the world. But wasn't the process of slavery basically was our tribe conquered your tribe, so now that you're conquered, we're going to overtake your people and we're going to enslave them? Isn't that a different process as opposed to buying slaves as a commodity? You get what I'm saying? Because at least those people had a fighting chance and they lost. But when you just I think
it turned into a business over time.
Okay.
I think that's what because, you know, the richest man in history was a Black man in Africa, right? Because he was running the slave trade. So that's why he became the richest person in history, right? So that whole idea, and then you have the West African slave trade and the East African slave trade. So you have the Arab versus the Black slave trade. And look, as Thomas Sowell points out, there was nobody but them that could go into Africa and conquer other tribes at the time. You know, there was white men wouldn't get off the damn boat. You know, they'd show up for the pickups and that's it. But they're getting that. But then that's the elitists working together. See, the elitist mindset isn't this race is better or that race is better, or this sex is better. It's that everybody's beneath us. That's the elitism. And I also often call racism elitism with an agenda, as in that's an agenda of the people that already think they're better than everybody. They can take either side. They can be your friend or your enemy in this fight. As long as they got you fighting with somebody else, they're controlling you. You know, and I think that's what's they've turned this history into by omitting facts like Thomas Sowell talks about. That's why Gary made the greatest point in saying that if I had known this stuff when I was younger, I would have had a different outlook in life. That's what I'm talking about. That's what, you know, bringing that history back into schools, getting rid of junk that's in there now, and putting back in real history where we're talked about from a human perspective, not a black-white perspective, not a victim prosecutor perspective, because that's doing nothing but dividing the people, having them grow up angry at each other. For white people, it makes them feel like lesser, right? It's destroying their identity. It brings them down. It makes them feel guilty, right? It makes them feel, for something that nobody alive even was a part of right now, right? And then you have the ongoing there's ongoing slavery that's happening. We can talk about that later, but I'm saying for that perspective, when you're a child and you put that in a child's head, that breaks that child. Now, my son and me both, man, we from a very young age, some of our best friends have been Black, and we my very first best friend, first day of kindergarten, I'll never forget him. We were just like two peas in a pod, just like that. We didn't. There wasn't nothing going on about someone's better than somebody else, skin color, none of that. I was raised in Virginia, so that's like, just goes to say you, it's like in that day and age, I thought all this stuff from the past was way behind us, and now it seems to be like really this amplified and agitated and picked at to where it's a problem again. We could talk about how that came about, but as we start tracing back through history, we find that there's always been one enemy that we've both had, and that's the establishment. That's the elitists sitting at the top. Those are the ones that were owning the slaves. Those are the ones in the slave trade. Those are the ones that were constantly pitting us against each other. And then, because let's put it this way, if there wasn't some love already there between this races, but as human beings, that natural love of just good people, seeing a small child and knowing that that's an innocent life, seeing people trying to raise up, seeing the joy in their family and the love that they share, and relating to that and empathizing with that, we wouldn't be talking today, right? They just sort of wiped everybody else out, and they wouldn't have ever ended. Maybe they would have never ended slavery if that's the way it was. But it wasn't. It was about money. It was about money, control, resources, and all that stuff. And it just so happened that the way it worked out is that at the tail end of it, you have this North American slave thing going on here, right? And they learned how to spin that into a sword that it can never be healed, because they keep picking at it, so that we can never come together and feel comfortable enough to say, hey, it's them. We need to all turn our attention and realize it's them that's been doing it to us the whole time. And when we come together like that, nobody can stop us.
Okay. Here, like, I don't think black people in general are mad about slavery. Like, yeah, they feel some type of way about it, but I don't think they feel as mad about slavery, because yes, slavery was going on all across everywhere. I think where the disconnect comes is what transpired after slavery.
No, I agree.
Because blacks were treated like less than. And you basically because my heritage is Haitian pretty much. So when I speak, yes, I'll say Black, but sometimes I'll say they, whatever. I don't know. Like, some people may get offended, but it is what it is. But Blacks were set free with absolutely no resources whatsoever. So it's like, here, yes, we got the freedom, so to speak, but it's like you have no resources or whatever, this, that, and the third. And it's just been a struggle to get to where Blacks are now in society. And when Blacks like speak about that, I think where the disconnect is, it's like there's no sensitivity towards that. It's just, well, you wasn't a slave, this, that, and the third. And it's a whole conversation of like basically saying, telling you how to feel, so to speak, and not even acknowledging those hardships that came after slavery. So I think that's where the disconnect for Black Americans are, and it's not necessarily on slavery as it is, because it's, yes, I understand slavery was in Africa, it was a slave trade, all of that stuff. So I don't know. That's where I feel the disconnect is from.
No, I agree, because you hear that from your grandparents.
Yeah,
you hear that from your grandparents and stuff like that. The stories, no, horrible things went down. Went down. I feel like that when it comes to education and with kids, though, they all start at that CRT level of, I felt like for years that the whole story about slavery just started in America during the Civil War times. It's like, that's not the history of slavery. It goes way back, and we've all been participants in it, and we've all been victims of it. And we still are today, to this day. It's just underground now.
You know what's crazy too, though? Like, me growing up, to be honest, I didn't really know much about slavery. It wasn't until like the movie Roots came out, and it's like, yo, like, what the hell? Like, because I don't know for Gary, you could speak on it. Erica P, you could speak on it. But in my household, slavery and race was not something that was discussed. It was just, yo, get your education, do what you got to do, and blase blah. That was what was basically pushed. It wasn't honestly till I saw the movie Roots, and I was like, oh wow, like that's how slavery was or whatever. Like, it gave me that like depiction of what slavery was, so to speak. Um,
That's
but
crazy because
yeah.
Thomas Sowell talks about that. He talks about that in his work. He talks about how that impression was given to so many folks, and that's the way slavery was. And they talked about how the author of Roots embellished a lot of things to make it storyable like that, And look at the impact it had on you, from a very early age. That's what I'm saying. It's so important that we start with this generation right here, and we start repairing that history, right? And then that leads us into what we're here to talk about tonight, in a sense that the role model leadership that's needed to be the ones that the young kids look to and say, that's what I want to be. I want to be like Walter Pease. I want to Walsh Pease. I want to be like Gary Lamb. I want to be like Erica P. I want to be like them when I grow up, and have that stability, that happiness of that family, because that's what it was all about. I mean, the Black community had that, and it got taken away. It needs to be put back. And who took it away? It was the establishment. Once again, always the bad guys.
Exactly. Because I always feel like, and it's something that you said, how you was like, the way white people feel, like how blacks is, blaming them and stuff like that. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, exactly, like, not, I'm paraphrasing what you said, but I honestly feel most blacks don't look at, like, most blacks do not think all white people are racist, so to speak, because that's a going theme. People be like, yo, blacks are trying to put, all these hardships on white people. And that's not what it is. We look at it as there is the higher ups who are basically the puppeteers pulling the strings, so to speak. Black folks just go into a mindset where they're venting, and when you're venting about stuff, I'm assuming, I could be wrong, that the white counterpart is thinking, well, dag, are you trying to put this on me? And it's like, no, I'm just venting, expressing what I'm going through right now. I'm not necessarily trying to say that you're the cause of it. I understand there's higher ups, because the more they keep us divided, the more power they hold on to, the more they make their pockets that much fatter, so to speak. So it's like, I think that's another area where the disconnect is. I'm not gonna sit there and say there aren't black people or there aren't white people that aren't racist, or be like, yo, all white people is this or all black people is this. Of course, you're always gonna have that. But I think the general population understand the dynamic of, there's a higher power that is trying to keep us divided. And if it's not done with race, it's done with politics.
Yeah.
That's how I honestly, feel about it.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and chime in, because y'all talk about a lot over there. So I'm gonna throw my story out there a little bit. Most of my grandparents are from southern states. You're talking, my family's from Georgia and from Florida. So for them,
okay, I'm right here in Georgia with you. I'm right here in Georgia with you.
I'm like, learning about slavery is a little different for me, because I can trace one side of my family to the plantation that they took over. So I'm like, it's weird, because it's like, oh, you don't hear the slavery stories, but you hear the, hey, this is the plantation that your great, 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 great was born on. So then it's like, okay, I got a place. I don't know nothing past then, but that's what I have. I got a family cemetery that's not too far from that plot of land. So, like, I can go back and be like, hey, do you want to be buried in this family plot or not? So for me, my story starts in, around the 1800s. You're talking, my great grandmother was born in the 1910s. So I'm like, for her, she was a few generations past that. So no, a lot of times on my side of family, they didn't talk about them stories, because especially the older generation, that's something they ain't never want to live through again. So no, I didn't get that many stories. But what I did get was, hey, we're going to take you to the Black Wax Museum because they had the one in Baltimore when I was little. This is before the big one came to DC. So that was a you going with the church trip. And I think we did that every year until I was about 14 or 15 years old. Because yes, that was their way of saying, hey, this is a part of your history, and you may not learn it in school. You're gonna learn a little bit every time. Because yes, you're gonna take the tour, but guess what? Every time you take that tour, something else starts standing out about that history. Now, when I was younger, was I as receptive to it as I would now? Probably not. But it at least made me think, hey, these are things that could go back if the laws change. These are things that could go back if people are going to continue being divided. And I think that's the problem for me. It was, yes, in that time, that's what it was. But now that that time is over, we have to make sure that we're not doing that to ourselves. Because guess what? A lot of times people will go, hey, when you come from Africa, it was an African that did that. So what do you think we're doing to our own communities in the inner cities? A lot of times we're doing the same stuff. You're slave to a job. You're slave to your community. You're slave to not taking the time to go read a book to learn a skill. You're slave to, hey, this is how I was raised and I don't want to pass these four walls. So I feel like for me, I'm the opposite. It's teach me something or tell me something that I didn't know because that's how you foster the next generation. I'm not going to say, hey, I'm going to tell you everything because everything may not be true. Everything may not be as politically accurate as I need it to be. But if I take enough of it and I can prove that, hey, a little bit of this went on, it'll make people start thinking. It'll make people start making that logical decision to say, hey, if I want to see better, that means I have to do better. And I have to make sure that I'm branching out to other people who help support. Because guess what? We were not the only ones that were enslaved. And if all of the other communities have figured out a way to prosper, I feel like we could too.
I
Absolutely.
I wanna ask the panel a question. Shout out to Vic in the building. Um, something. Well, I know a lot of us can say, "Hey, the reason we learned about slavery was through the movie Roots and stuff like this." Right now, I for one, and a lot of other Black people have a problem with them, like with basically trying to whitewash um history, like the thing that's going on in Florida, where they took Rosa Parks race out of the curriculum, and they're trying to change it up to say, hey, slavery was beneficial to some Blacks in some way because they picked up skills and stuff like this. So my question is this: if we learned history through the movie Roots, prior to that, we didn't really have no knowledge of it, and we were just, going through life trying to, be the best versions of ourselves, trying to be productive in society, the whole nine.
Mhm.
Could we look at that as being beneficial of not teaching those things to keep people with a clear mind and focus on going forward, so to speak? Or do you look at it that could be detrimental with the possibility of history repeating itself? What
I
is your take on that?
I'm gonna go ahead and start. I didn't learn my history from watching the movie Roots. Unfortunately for me, Roots came out maybe 8 or 9 years before I was even born.
No,
So
I get that, but in a case like that, would you consider yourself an outlier or the general populace?
well, see, this is the thing though. They Roots, you talking came out, I believe, like 76, 77. So for people that were old enough to watch television at the time, they would have seen it. But the kids that came in after that generation, so you're talking those 80 babies or those 90 babies, that was not the go-to for them. Because think about it, they would have been a kid or they weren't even thought about at the time. But I came from a generation where slavery was in our school books. It just was not talked about if you didn't reach it
Let
or
me ask
it
you
was
this.
4 pages.
Let me ask you this. when you learned about slavery through your ancestors, the way it was depicted, was it depicted anything like the movie Roots?
Yes and no. And the reason I'm saying yes and no is because yes, I saw cotton, like I knew what cotton was because like I said, my grandparents are from an area that grew cotton and had farms, and so you knew what this stuff looked like. They also said that, hey, your family, they picked this type of stuff before the cotton gin came out. So that I know. But did you hear a couple of stories about people getting lynched and hanged? Yes. Was I 6 years old learning? No. These are things that I probably asked as I'm doing a project or as I'm, after we done went to the museum. Because when you go to the museum, especially for that first time, you walk in, you see the Amelia Earhart airplane. So they start off on a positive, and then you go through the doors and you see the slave ship. And then that's when you start going, why is it so tight? And they're like, hey, if you look at pictures of what a slave ship looked like, it was tight. So I'm like, you get those questions, but I don't think as a kid I was too in depth into it. And I think because my family was trying to keep me a kid as long as possible, it was not that they were dodging the questions, but they weren't giving you the full, here's everything, and trying to scare you. It was, you
So,
ask the question, we'll give you the answer that is appropriate for the question that you asked.
so the way what I'm getting from you is learning it through your like at home was less detrimental than just being slapped in the face with the movie Roots.
Correct. Because we also, like back then, you weren't going online and researching. Like I went to the library. Like I
Okay.
went through the card catalog and pulled up, the different books that were about slavery at the time. I had research projects. Like I went to Catholic schools. I can remember them going, hey, we got this family tree, and my I was one of those kids where sometimes I had to go the extra mile. So it was okay, well, let me find out a little bit more about my history. So that's how I learned it, where I did research as a kid. My parents were involved in said research. It was okay, well, we can go find you some more books then. If this library don't have it, let's go to the bigger library in the area, because we did. We started with the small one. You probably got 3 or 4 books. You start going to some of the larger ones, you'd be like, oh, you got 100 books. Oh, okay. Well, and then you start looking at the age brackets for them. It's like, okay, well, if you're learning this in the 4th grade, you're not going to go get that college African American history book. You're going to go get something that's age appropriate. So, yes, it step ladders up over time, but you're not trying to scare a kid into it, because the thing is, if you scare a kid too early on about that, then they're walking around the world being mean and angry at everyone. And it's not
Okay.
about you being mean and angry. It's about you learning about yourself so that, one, you're not making the same mistakes as the ones of yesteryear. But 2, you have to know where you came from so that you can benefit from it, so that you're not just squandling or throwing away any type of progression that you have.
Do anybody want to take the floor before or I can chime in?
Hi.
Hello.
You want to take the floor or okay?
I
Miss
want to
Lamb.
take the floor, but you were asking about slavery and how it's basically being obliterated from education. Is that what the question was?
Basically the question was as far as our history go with slavery and stuff, should we look to like put it in the forefront, basically giving all the details of what happened with it, this, that, and the third, or as far as like whitewashing it where it's kind of keeping the race element out of it, so to speak, so people can keep their eyes on the prize of just trying to be better individuals and contribute to society and see everybody as like one, so to speak. So it's
Yeah.
like, you get what I'm saying? Because like I
Yeah.
said, until I saw the movie Roots, I've heard about slavery and stuff like that. My parents spoke about the whole Haitian Revolution and all that stuff, but Roots was like eye opening, where I was like, whoa, what the? So that's pretty much what the question is. Like, should we
Yeah.
shy away from it or keep,
Well,
putting it out there?
I do think that we need to be aware and we need to teach it to everybody. And especially when it comes to, I'm like big on the curriculum, our kids and all of that. Refuse to leave it up to some school or some school district or some state curriculum to teach our
There
kids
it is.
anything.
There it is. You took the words
Anything.
right out of my mouth.
Especially when they don't teach the proper stuff. It's like, why would I want them to do that, right? Go ahead, baby. I just wanted to add that in.
Yeah, so I think it's important. Like you said, like Roots, for you's Roots. I saw Roots, like I was a teenager.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I became a young adult and I saw Rosewood and the big mama was carried in the box so that they wouldn't lynch her too and all that. It's just certain things I feel like we need to revisit. We don't know our future until we know our past. We have to know who we are, where we came from. We were kings and queens and we were stolen and all of that. So that even while we're having conversations with, the indigenous people here and different cultures here, basically it was a whole bunch that was stolen in this country, and it wasn't just us. So I think that when we know where we come from, and why we're so innovative and creative as a culture and all of these things, then we could say, all right, y'all, we know it happened. So then when we see these, uprisings and these things happen in our country, oh, we know where it came from, because some of a good majority of our culture hasn't healed yet. And it's like a reminder of the past and all these things. So we have to know, to have a foundation, to know where we came from in general. And then, we move on from there. We can't live there in that place. So I get that part. But as a parent, we learning everything at home. Everything. I refuse to leave it up to the curriculum. Some teacher who has some private agenda trying to sneak some stuff in while nobody's listening. No, they know everything from home. So for me, that's a big thing. I think we need to know. It's my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me chime in, and then Winning Reality, the floor is yours.
All right.
After listening to the panel, whatever, and being deep in my thoughts and everything like that, I honestly feel, as far as the school systems go, if you're going to teach anything about history, focus on the positives, meaning don't whitewash or blackwash it, whatever you want to call it. Don't soil it to the point where if something extravagant happened and it was a black person that made that happen, put it in the book. If it was an Asian person that made something happen, put it in the book. If it was a Latino person that made something happen, put it in the book. Don't discard people and just make it seem like these group of people are the ones that made or built America to the great nation that it's in. But meanwhile, behind the scenes, you saw it was somebody else's idea, this, that, and the third. Keep it 100 authentic. That's the only thing I'm asking from the school system. As far as education of history and all that, that should be for families, for them to, like, for the parents, adults to teach their children. Because like I said, when I learned about, the history and stuff from my parents, I didn't have a sense of vitriol, and my parents wasn't teaching me in a sense of having vitriol over their oppressors, so to speak, or anything like that. It was, this is the history. We're in a better place now, blah, 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 and we're gonna make it happen, and we're gonna do what we gotta do. And I could speak for the black community, a lot of them like go towards church and God, so to speak, for a sense of healing. So when you're going through those things or whatever, a lot of people just be like, you know what? Whatever happened, whatever. I leave it up to God. Whatever, whoever did XYZ, they're gonna have to answer to God or whatever. I know some people don't want to hear God or whatever, in the conversation, but that's just how a lot of black people try to remedy things. So this way they don't hold a grudge, so to speak. So that's how I feel about it. Keep it 100 when it comes to teaching in school, and let the history lesson be done on your own time. And that's the thing. I wanted to learn more deeper things about the Haitian culture and stuff. Hey, I went to events to learn about the history of how Haiti gained its independence. I went to these things. I took time to learn about it. So if individuals want to learn about their history, take the time to do it. Don't leave it up to a school or somebody else to put whatever in a book or whatever the case may be and cloud your judgment just to get you on base with the way they think. Take that time to soul search.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm at with
Absolutely.
it.
I agree with that so much. Like, I really do. I just agree. I don't see the point, and that will eliminate a lot of problems, right? If we leave it, all right, cool. You want to teach your children about your heritage or your whatever it is, fine. You can teach about it. Okay, that's your choice. I'm going to teach about it as well, my own way, from my own experiences. That may not gel with you, but that's the reason why they're my children. My children. Now we can all agree on general things in the school. You don't want CRT in the schools. I get it. I wouldn't want to be labeled a freaking bad person either. I know exactly what that feels like. You know, say everybody checking you everywhere you go. You can't go nowhere without being checked. So now you just wear loud colors and say, look at me, because you're going to look at me anyway, no matter what I wear. Yeah, that's a black experience. And I don't think a lot of people really get that. But I got to deal with it because I'm the minority, 13%. You don't bother me. I'm always around white folk. Y'all don't bother me. I work with y'all.
Oh,
I work
yeah.
for y'all.
Oh, yeah.
You know, saying I service you. The reason why I talk so well is because you kicked the ghetto out of me, because you said you want this money, you gotta talk this way.
They said assimilate.
Yes, they want to assimilate. No. They use the word encourage. We're going to encourage. You think we stupid? We're not stupid. All right, that's what you want to do. All right, fine. I'll put that talk away so I can talk proper. Yes, I understand. Yes.
Real quick, let's do this. Welcome back to the show for the second time, Mr. Strategic Eyes.
Oh, what's up, Strategic?
Hey,
what's up, Strategic? You muted, brother.
My fault, y'all. I just got in the crib. I'm putting a piece away, the whole nine. You know what I'm saying?
There you
guys
go.
in my closet. My apologies.
You're
You
such
see?
a boy.
Wait. Do you see your man's sneaker
some
collection?
sneakers right there.
Yo, you got a stash or something, Strategic? You got a stash, brother?
It's a lot of overtime. That's not YouTube, man. It's a lot of overtime. You know what I'm saying? Like, Chet, what are we doing here? Like, Chet, am I showing you all the suits? Chet, come on, man.
I'm not saying I like the suits, but them sneakers got some colors to them, though. I like colorful sneakers.
Listen, man, you know, when you shop in a Nike outlet and you only shopping for the shoes on sale, you're going to get very colorful colors.
Oh, yeah.
Let me get downstairs where there's some light. I apologize, guys. Let me get downstairs. Yeah, man, great discussion you guys are having. I really, really want to get in on this. I really agree with what I could catch while he was saying, because I was driving home at the same time, so trying to take it in and be safe at the same time. But I kind of, the way I look at it is on the topic at hand is, I think that knowledge can be dangerous. And I agree, like when I learned, like my connection to slavery, I don't really have a connection to slavery that is as direct as most people. I'm Caribbean. My family is either Latino Caribbean or just African Caribbean, and we was free for a very long time. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, Caribbean blacks had it just as bad, if not worse, than South blacks when it comes to the abuse and the torture. And a lot of ADOS black people, I only use that term because they try and force it down my throat. You're not one of us because you're West Indian, you know what I'm saying? A lot of ADOS black people don't understand that. That's why some of the biggest...
This is where Suzanne's family's from too, by the way.
Yeah, this is why some of the biggest rebellions, like the first major rebellion, not major, but the most instrumental rebellion when it happened in my man Wally's country, Haiti, happened because they were so brutal. They were so brutal, they could not, the people like, yo, it's better we fight and die than just keep going the way things are. You know what I'm saying? So,
And it's crazy too, strategic. Know it was bad because they kept trying, fell, kept like it wasn't a one-off.
Yeah. So that's my back. So my family, we really don't talk about slavery like that because we don't have a good remembrance of it. It's not that deep in our DNA. It's so far removed, and people forgot about it. People didn't want to talk about it because of pain, and the generations go on, and you don't even know about it no more. But when the first time I learned about American slavery, which I embrace, which I sympathize with, and I sometimes claim. In fact, 95% of the time I claim it because I consider myself a Black American. I got very angry. Because I never saw Roots, but I saw a movie called Sankofa. I don't know if you ever seen that movie. That movie's powerful.
I never saw it. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Oh, your wife.
What is it called? What is it called?
Sankofa.
Sankofa.
Okay. You saw that, Erica, right?
I did. Yeah.
Yo, tell me that movie still don't haunt you. Just hand the name.
How about I was older when I saw it and I couldn't even finish most of it. I had to turn it off.
I saw that when I was 15 in English class. It made me hate every single Caucasian person I ever saw because that was true knowledge right there. But it was too powerful for my young soul. You know what I'm saying? So rather than taking it in and processing it with a mature lens and understanding the gravity of it, but also understanding I can't hate my next door neighbor who treats me so good just because they look like the person in Sankofa who was raping all those goddamn slaves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't ready for it. So what I think we should do, we should teach about slavery, teach about the economics of it, teach about the suffering of it. You could talk about the brutality without going too deep. And give this in levels. Why do we have to act like you only learn about this thing one time? We learned about George Washington from K to 12th grade. You know what I mean? By the time we get to 12th grade, we know how many apples was on his apple tree. Why can't we gradually introduce children to this stuff, give them a good understanding of it in an unbiased way and in a way that doesn't promote division in our country, and then
you're breaking up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have to go in the studio? I thought I had good reception. More Fios right now. But
you're breaking up bad. It's like going in and out.
All right, so
it's like going in and out.
I think that might be you because he's fine for me.
Okay. It might be. Yeah, it might be me then. Okay.
Okay, cool. No, that's cool. It's cool. I was just gonna say I'll go to the studio. Give me a couple minutes. But all right, and then allow people. I don't know who I heard say this because remember I was driving, but I think somebody may have said it if I heard it correctly. To allow people to get the deep knowledge as they get older. So when you go to college, let's now have this stuff available in colleges where people can actually dig deep into the nitty gritty of the brutality and all that extra stuff. I just don't feel like it's beneficial for a sixth grader or seventh grader to be watching Sankofa. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't take it back if I could go on a time machine, but as an adult, I feel like it may not have been appropriate for me to have watched that in seventh grade English class. You know what I'm saying?
I think.
Yeah. Well, that teaching it right. That's what repairing history. The show is all about. It's like this is what's missing, and this is why when it's missing, it causes the division because it sets this wrong idea about things out there for kids who are just learning it in bits and pieces, and then they get that one little run with it, right? And then it's a discussion past that point, and then they go off into the world with this idea about things, right? But we know we hang out, we meet each other, we're all good.
Yeah. Well, one thing I said that is disturbing me about this conversation we're having, not that we're having, but it's a larger conversation that's being having in the interwebs, is that a lot of African American conservatives that I listen to, and I like a lot of their opinions because I'm kind of middle road. You know, you can catch me on both sides depending on what you're talking about. They're trying to use this whole slavery wasn't that bad bullshit, and it's killing me because listen, I get it. I respect it. Of course, nothing's going to be ever bad for anybody else, for everybody. But in the grand scheme of things, in the totality, slavery was a net negative. Okay? So why are we going to pick and choose that some slaves learned carpentry? Of course they learned carpentry. Why are they getting their ass kicked? You know what I'm saying? Of course they know how to weave. Because in the middle, you know, while the wife is weaving a dress, while the slave female is weaving a dress, and she's learning this great skill that she's going to one day use to become the first and the richest African-American lady out of slavery. I'm making a lady up. In between weaving, the slave master was coming in and throwing his penis in her face. You know, you can't just say, oh, they learned some skills so everything was all right. That's messed up. And to me, it just seems like dog whistling when I hear black conservative. This is a particular YouTuber that I like. I am a subscriber of his show. But he keeps saying this. And Officer Tatum keeps saying this, and it's like, dude, yes, you know, to make a statement like slavery wasn't all that. Well, slavery taught slaves skills. That is a truthful statement, but it's also a misleading statement, and it's a disgusting statement because slavery was filled with so much brutality that it doesn't matter what skills they learned, it still was an evil act, and it should be remembered as such. But I do believe we should not treat our fellow citizens of today as though they were the progenitors, they were the ones that did the slavery. Their ancestors did it. So I'm not with that. But when I hear the black conservative and Officer Tatum say that, it really pisses me off. It seems like these dudes are just trying to play to their audience and just trying to make money, man.
No, they're not playing to their audience. Wow. Why would they ever do something like that?
Let me get in here for a second. Right? This is what I'm talking about. Let me get in here for 1 second, man.
Bro, I'm a YouTuber. I know exactly what they're doing. Like, I know what they're doing. But go ahead, Wendy. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. I just make sure is my volume all right? Let's see. It might need to come up a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Wait, do y'all hear some feedback? Do y'all hear like some feedback or something?
You got some feedback over there.
Yeah, we got some feedback over there. Yep. There we go. Woo. There it is.
There we go. Okay.
All right. So what I want to say is like this, you guys talk about Officer Tatum. He's another guy that I think is really part of that role model leadership as far as being out there as a man, saying you take care of your family, don't be out there screwing around, realize what you're getting into, value your life, treasure your life, come up like this. It looks like he'd be a damn good father, right? And you know, when you guys this is what I'm talking about. This group right here, right, needs to be able to talk to that group, right, without anybody else in the way. Right, just that they had that communication as role model leaders in the Black community to come and say, you know, I want to talk to you about this thing that's going on right here. Y'all are talking about. Is this what's good? I mean, listen to what we have to say about this, and then have a bigger group that comes together and can discuss. Hey, how are we going to lift up the Black community? How are we going to make sure that kids are falling into family and not falling into gangs? You know, how they're falling into the right mindset and not the wrong mindset. They're not following the bell cows down the bad path to where they're just going to be either in prison or dead or just running through life blaming everybody else for their problems, right? How do we come together for that fact, you know, and do that? That's why I think what you all are doing is so important. And that's why I'm saying this is the cure, right? We got to repair the history and we got to get the role model leadership and they're talking to each other, you know? I'm gonna just mute that real quick. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna so that we can so that you guys can have the conversation. I told Gary this offline. I was like, you know, the last thing you guys need is white people in the middle that's trying to save the day or being to tell everybody what to do or saying do it this way or let us help. No, you know how I want to help? I want to lift y'all up.
See,
I want to lift you all up so you can be heard. You know,
I'm glad
do
you brought
think-
that up. Wait a minute,
Go
Alex.
ahead,
What
go
you
ahead,
say?
go ahead,
Just hold
go
on.
ahead,
Can
go
you
ahead.
just write it down for a second?
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because that is an amazing conversation to be having right now. Based upon what you just said, this is a wonderful conversation. Is it possible that whites can help? How can they help? Or do they move out the way and let us do our thing? You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of discussion around this in the Black community about trying to organize our wealth. I mean, our spending power to build our own stuff. Right? There's so many talks about it. It's just how do we get it done effectively? Because we need land, right? We need all kinds of. It's so much work that we need, and not a lot of us have those type of connections. So how do we work that? I just wanted to put that bomb out there.
Here's my
well,
thing. I think, okay, yes, white America can be very powerful as far as Black America. I think where the disconnect is when Blacks try to ingratiate themselves with white America. Because, like I said, Black people, Black America, they're still like suffering mentally from things that happened in the past. Because you got to look at it like this, right? When slavery ended, generation to generation, there was no Black therapist that you could go to vent to and get work out all the, what's the word I'm looking for, mental illness that you might have suffered through. So what happens? You speak about this in your household, right? The kids are listening to the parents speak this. That get built into the child's DNA. The child grow up, in the process just recycle. I forgot what the term is called, but that's pretty much, what you have. So when Black America is trying to like reach out to white America for the aid or just to speak and vent, it's a conflict on both ends because then white America is like, well, I don't want to be a part of this. So they try and disassociate. But the way they try to disassociate is to undermine or think they're being attacked by the way that the Black individual is speaking about it. And dare I say, try to make it seem like it's not as bad as it is, or, well, you're living in a better time now. That puts that individual off, and that white individual is turned off because they feel like they're being attacked for something that they didn't do, that their ancestors might have done, or whatever the case may be. My thing is, if for Blacks, it's just listen. It's not that I'm trying to put it on your shoulder. I'm just trying to vent. Now that you can understand why I'm in the mental state that I'm in, now you can at least have a better idea of what direction you can go to help. Because you can't go and help if you don't have a better understanding of what I'm going through. So if we can cross that bridge of not trying to be defensive when we're having these conversations, and I get it, because if my ancestors, did something like that to a group of people and they come to me, I'm gonna try and disassociate myself as far as possible. So I understand that dynamic of, like, I understand it 100%. But I think where we need to do better is that communication to bring those walls down, understand each other, and then work together to make things better. Because once we get together to make things better, ain't no government or whatever the case may be that could stop us, because the community is that much stronger.
Yep, that's their weapon. Division's their weapon, man. And
Yes.
honestly, the division that's going on is what keeps the corruption in power. And we had to realize that. And that's what when I'm talking, Gary, I'm not talking about, taking the Black community and saying, okay, you guys go do your own thing. And since I wanted to grow back together as a humanity, as one people.
Yeah.
you know, and I think that comes with healing the division, starts with the education. I think we've all made a great point about that tonight, that we got to go back there and make sure that people have the realistic view of how slavery started and then how these other additional things happened in this country, like the Jim Crow laws and civil rights and so on. And then we can go all the way up to present, man, and the current division going on today and how that's happening. It's because we allow the establishment to keep pushing down on us, both of us. You know, all of us together.
Yes.
It's the establishment versus the rest of us. And we're the rest of us right here. You know,
and truth be told, I'm gonna let me just say this real quick too, Erica P. Truth be told, I understand where like Black folks talk about their suffering. Believe it or not, white people are suffering too from the establishment. But it's just true. People just don't really, people turn a blind eye to it. So it's like, well, damn, I'm suffering too. Nobody want to hear my plight. Like, what's going on here? So you can actually put that person in a box also. I got to understand your plight and you got to understand my plight so that we could come together. Floor is yours, Erica P.
Well, I was going to say something similar. People have to talk about what's going on because guess what? It's the same stuff. And because it's the same stuff that's going on, you have to figure out how do we fix it. You only fix it if you start voting different people in. If you start bringing more and more people that are in politics that share similar views to the people of the communities. Because the problem now is it's like, hey, I want representation and I want them to create laws based off of everybody. If I want everybody to join, that means I need to stop passing laws in Florida going, hey, well, we're going to revamp this curriculum and we're going to add this in. It's like, okay, can we talk about what needs to be in American history? Okay, let's write it down. Then I need all of the other 50 states to go, hey, it needs to be a consensus because I'm starting to notice, depending on where you at, you telling me you teaching American history and they're completely different because you get different version of books. You get different manufacturers of books. And the difference with that is each state can pick and choose what they want to put in. You got, you know, I went to school in North Jersey. That's where I was from. So you're talking, you got North Jersey books that are going to be completely different than a Florida's book. So you talking, the kids aren't even on the same wavelength of learning the same things. So now it's like, how do we bridge that gap? Well, guess what? We bridged it by putting people in place that aren't going to go in on a whim, go, hey, I want to change these things. It has to be a better accountability system for how they can vote certain things in. Because my thing is, if these are supposed to be things that you're supposed to be presenting to the school board, that means the school board needs to trickle it down to the parents. Mm-hmm. If you're not listening to those people that are actively showing up, guess what? That means it's a mutiny on your hands at this point.
Yep. Okay. Yep. And that's what I say. I feel like all my viewers. Oh, sure.
Yeah, go ahead. Winning.
Strategic.
I was going to say, I put strategic back. I wanted to put it out there that I put out to all my viewers. I said, hey, look, let's start making a difference in the local schools if you're involved with those, even if you aren't, because remember, those kids are going to be hanging out with your kid one day. But, you know, to get the Thomas Sowell history back in there, you know, to get the Thomas Sowell history going, put the curriculum together, we can use the technologies we have around us to even to develop curriculums through AI and other things that we can put together these lesson plans and be like, learn this history and start. We want to see our kids being taught this, not the other stuff, you know, and that if we all start doing that now, we can make a difference.
To be honest with you. Oh, go ahead, Ms. Lamb.
Real quick, I wanted to make 3 points. One, to the point with what Strategic Eyes was saying about gradually presenting this information to our children in the schools. But the biggest thing here is we're having these conversations, right? Like you said, Winning, we're here, we're on this platform and all these platforms, and you look at it like a town hall. Like you said, Erica, there's these different states, and this state says one thing, but this says another thing. And then you have all of these different opinions. And because they take it to legislation, then the power's in the pen, somebody signed it over, and now lo and behold, this is what the kids are being taught in school. So my thing is, while we are expressing whatever we need to express to our children at home, hopefully from, like you were saying, Wally, a healthy place, not from a place of trauma and destroying our children because of whatever folklore and whatever stories we heard from our ancestors. No, we're not going to obliterate it. We're not going to omit the truth, but we know our children better than anybody. So I think that it is major. Like, for example, and this is one of the last points, at this town hall, that's fine. We're having this discussion, but you're not just going to allow somebody, stranger, whomever, an associate, whoever, to come in your house and tell you what you're going to do in your house.
That's right.
If the legislation feels how they feel, or whatever, the powers that be, our local government and all of that, yeah, we could talk all day here. And I know, and I really believe that, we have registered to vote and all of that, on this panel and a lot of the viewers, but it takes a collective. And yeah, you got to have thick skin, because our history sucks and a lot happened that is just a reality, and it happened. And we can heal from it once we're able to have the conversation about it. Then I'm going to invite you in my house and we could talk about it. But until then, it's going to stay a town hall meeting, because not everybody has the same ideals and the same feelings about it. Then you go in the school, and this is my thing. If you're going to put CRT and all of these different things in there, we're not about to admit the truth because of somebody's offense. And then someone, and I'm even talking now in 2023, someone decided that this was a great idea to introduce it to a 6-year-old. And now they have to ask the 6-year-old by law, because you're an educator, who do you identify with, and all of this, because it's a part of the curriculum. So it starts, yes, at home. Then we take ourselves down to the PTA, PTO meeting. We talk to the principals, we talk to the superintendents, and make your presence fully known, not just on paper.
Me personally, the way I feel, if we're going to speak about history or anything when it comes to the lesson plan or whatever, I just want to keep it basic knowledge, information on how America came to be the great country that it is. I would rather put focus on teaching these kids financial literacy and, coding and stuff like that. This way they can, be productive to society and have a head start. So when they become adults, they know how to manage their money. They know how to do all these things. This way, when it comes to finances, you're in a better position, percentage-wise, you're in a better position to excel, because let's face the reality. What is the main problem of a lot of these impoverished areas? Financial reasons.
Yo, let me jump in.
Go ahead, Satij. It's all yours.
First of all, can you guys hear me good?
Yes.
Awesome. Big shout out to Winning Reality. Sorry, I just jumped in earlier, started blabbering my mouth. Thanks
no, man, y'all good.
Sharing your platform with me. Yo, Gary, it's been a long time.
Absolutely.
Love seeing you, brother. You and your beautiful wife. Thanks for sharing your platforms with me. Walls P, Erica P. Love you guys. I do disagree.
Too,
now I've been agreeing with a lot of your videos, Walls P. Did a reaction to one of your videos. I got to disagree with you now.
Okay.
We look at the countries that are literally rising before our eyes to be the next superpowers. India, China. You know what they do? They teach their history. Their kids know their history. You look at African Americans that come into America and succeed and do not fall into the trap of ADOS. African Americans, West Indians, they know their history. You know what I'm saying? Africans, they know their history. We can't raise our children not knowing their history. It's what type of history do we teach? Can we teach them the horrors of slavery and also teach them that this country is the greatest country in the world because we were able to rise out of that together and create a greater union?
Let me ask you this. Do you want to keep that teaching in the school curriculum, or something that it's onus on the parents?
Well, see, the thing is, I don't know what's in the school curriculum, because I see you, Erica. I'm gonna finish so you could jump in here. I had the same education Erica had that she spoke about, where slavery was like 4 pages. Like, they didn't really go into crazy detail. When we watched Sankofa, the teacher shut the doors, was like, don't tell nobody I showed you this movie. You know, and it was like the waning
Dang.
days of school when nobody,
Wow.
when there was no
Yeah.
no curriculum left. We did all our tests
Wow.
and all that shit. So, you know, my curriculum is different. My curriculum is probably the curriculum that people would all agree we should teach at this moment, because they didn't have none of the social justice stuff. But please, Erica, jump in.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. You got to think about it, though. American history is American history, and you have to include Black Americans in this history, because if not, then guess what? You're only teaching up to what, 1920s, which if you're only teaching 1920s, they're really not including much about Black history. You have to start teaching later. You got to start teaching, you know, a little bit more of them 1870s, because that's, think about it, that's supposed to be the end of slavery. But then you also have to start teaching this around the early 60s, because that's when all of those other instrumental laws for today started coming into play. And I feel like, yes, you do like any other thing. You have to step ladder the kids. You put a little bit on it going, hey, if you want to shy away from slavery in kindergarten, I'm okay with you doing it. But what I need you not to do is say, hey, slavery is good for everybody, because that's the problem. I got kids that are going to school that are learning this stuff now. I need them to be okay with, hey, this is in the past, but it's more than the 4 pages that I was taught. But it's also, hey, when y'all do these research projects, stop giving me the same Black people over and over.
Yeah,
I
that's
can
true.
remember my second grader a few years back, we'd have learned about Major Taylor. Do anybody really know about Major Taylor? He was the first Black on a tour bike. I'm like, hey, that's a little positive and that's a little different. We learned about some new people, and it ain't just the
George Washington Carver.
I'm about to say it's not just the George Washington Carver and Booker T. Washington. I like those stories, but I also like, hey, give me some other people that were in the same era. Because if you give me more people, guess what? That's more knowledge that they're going to get. Because I can remember being taught the same 8 people for as long as I can remember. And I can remember being, you know, that Oprah Winfrey report from kindergarten. I need more.
And see, this is what Winning Reality was talking about as far as the role models things. So yes, strategic, you and Erica P, y'all make a good point. Yes, teaching history. Definitely. You got me on that. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Knowing your history and knowing where you come from, yes, that also helps, you know, pursue further avenues of success. Agree with you 100%. That's where what Winning Reality comes into play, because the whole thing is role models. So if you put these people, these Black people or Spanish people, whatever nationality they are, in the history, because they did great things to help build America, it gives people other role models that they can look forward to try and aspire to be. It gives more pickings of the litter of, hey, this person achieved that. You know what? I'm going to try and achieve that. It get like, as a kid, that helps, you know, build your confidence to be like, yo, I want to aspire to do that. But if you don't see much, it can have a negative effect where it's like, dang, ain't that much people that look like me. I don't have much representation that went on to do these great things to help build this great country. So I think we're doing a disservice not including those people that were doing great things for America, but they just stay in the shadows.
Yeah. Well, that, and then just people, everyday people like y'all, man, that are just out there, you know, raising families and doing it the right way. There's a lot of kids out there that don't have that role model to look to. So where they turn the TV, right? Yeah. They see the guy flaunting his cash and talking about how he's hurt other people, and that's cool, right? And that's just a setup for the prison industrial complex, man. I can tell stories about my days back in the beach, man, and when I saw the onset of gangster rap due to my community there, you know, and it was just like that influence set up a whole generation for that abuse system, which is the prison industrial complex, where you go in there and you become institutionalized, and your life is pretty much, you know, done at that point, because you can't get the jobs and you can't do the, you know, you don't have you grow up there, you grow up institutionalized, right? And you know, But it's like a lot of those kids, they might not have the role model at home. They might not have the good influence at home, but they got the heart and the mind, and they want to get out there and be better in this world. Where do they turn to? They got, I don't know how y'all feel about BLM, but the leadership behind BLM, the colors,
the
organization. Yeah, the organization.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
The
they've
message,
done is
yeah.
a disgrace.
You got the wrong crowd over
Organization,
here.
yeah, the organization. Yeah, I don't.
No, that's
the
a no for
movement,
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But let me just say something real quick. I feel like, I hear what you're saying, that white America shouldn't be a part of this conversation. I think that's what you're trying to say. Well, in reality, is that what you're trying to say?
Well, no, and in terms of what are going to be the solutions that help rebuild the Black community and get people back to that family, that family that was the basis of it, the strength of it.
I got you. So I think that white America does have a role to play in that.
Yep.
Because first of all, I don't want to espouse to BLM, and I don't think anybody else here does, because we've usually spoken. I think I haven't spoken about it with Gary. I'm sorry. Am I still here?
Yeah.
Oh, I hear you.
No, everything went black on my screen. I thought I had a power outage. All right. But I try and look at things objectively, and on my show, I try and bring the races together. Most of my audience is conservative white. I'm not conservative. I'm centrist, but my message resonates with them, I guess, or they just like hearing me talk. But white America had a role in us getting into this position. So we're talking about welfare, but I don't even want to go that far back. That topic has been talked about 1,000 times. We talk about gangster rap. Who was the ones who actually owned the record labels and was pushing the gangster rap? It was Caucasian executives. So the role, to me, that white America has to play in helping the Black community steer the ship back to where it was in the past, where parents actually stayed in their kids' lives, is to stop using the media to push these things on our children. There's no Black people that own any major Black labels anymore that's pushing, the NBA young boys and the 6ix9ines and all that stuff, right? They may have a Black guy who is like the head of a pseudo label, what they call it, imprint labels, where a major label basically fronts everything. You're just a face, and all the money's still going to the major white corporation.
And I got you one, Strategic. Hold that thought. I got you one. And the thing is, when these artists and stuff come up to the labels with an album,
right,
and it's not up to code what the label want, they're like, nah, do it over again.
Right.
We want
this. It doesn't take much of a search. Go watch Vlad, even though I don't like Vlad TV.
Exactly.
Watch Vlad, and we'll see rap stars that fell off, and we're like, what happened to them? And then we'll hear them tell their story. Like, I didn't want to talk about bees and hoes and all that and drugs anymore, and my label dropped me. We look at BLM. Who made BLM? BLM wasn't for Black people. BLM was fronted by which right liberals? And then the people who were fronting it were communists who were trained by white liberals. So, I think that white folks need to get out the way. And I think that there is a part to play that we need to start looking at. Just stop playing the Democratic game and start looking at different parties and start taking values from different parties. There's things we can learn from the Conservative Party. There's things we can learn from the Liberal Party. We need to, but white folks, we can't get nowhere if we still have MSNBCs and shows like TYT that's using their power and their influence to perpetuate that culture of victimhood and that culture to always blame white people for everything, because there's white people telling us to blame white people,
right? And that's confusing as hell, right? Guys, we're right over the target right now. We're right over the target right now.
Strategic.
We're right over the target. We're right over the target. And what I want to say about is like this. Now let's take the word white out of there and put the word establishment in, because these white people that you guys are talking about, they're all part of the establishment. They're all working for the agenda of the establishment. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, we can really come together when we realize that it ain't black and white that's at each other. It's the establishment versus the rest of us. And the establishment's got a lot of useful idiots. They got a lot of people like that have no clue, that are just going along with what they're doing. They got a lot of narcissistic people out there doing the evil in this world, and we deal with the people all the time.
Yeah, but let me say one more thing, Wallsby. And I love what what Winning Reality is saying, and I do agree with him. But I have to say, who is the establishment? The establishment is white. We have no power. We're just pawns. We're useful idiots, really. But the power structure is white. Now, I do agree with you. We need to get away from identifying them as white, because I don't think that whatever grand plan they have, I don't think they care what color you are. I think they just care about control. But we do have to acknowledge that they are white people. And to me, that matters.
Or the one or two that have infiltrated that. I'm gonna call them the 5%ers, because in my head, I feel like 5 to 10% control everything else going on. So I feel like that's
and
that
I'll say
group.
this one last thing, and I'll be quiet for a little while, because the reason why I can't, even though I'm one of the guys that say we got to stop this racism stuff and we got to stop dividing each other on color, the reason why I can't get over the fact that that establishment is white is because when you get down to the nitty gritty, and I see this in my day job, their policies are killing Black people. When you catch and release violent felony, perps and molesters get out on $500 bail, and people could go in and steal till stores leave Black communities, it's hurting Black people. So I'm wondering, is this the newest racist agenda? Why these policies are targeted and they're affecting minorities the most. So I don't know, man. It's irking me, and I'm still working through it.
To me, it's kind of like let me just say this, Erica P, and then you can have it. It's kind of like the conversation that we had in yesterday's live, Erica P, when we spoke about affirmative action. Affirmative action was propped up to say, hey, Black people that are uneducated or whatever, or don't qualify to get into colleges, affirmative action allowed them to get into it. But little be known, the reality of affirmative action, in order for you to get to Yale, you have to meet certain qualifications. Once you meet them certain qualification, that's when affirmative action kick in. So it's not the principle of this person is undeserving and he got into it. The crazy thing about it is that it was painted or framed in the sense of it's Black people who are undeserving getting into college, but the person that it affected the most was white women. So you put the guys to that it's Blacks that are getting under, but it's really affecting white women as a majority. So what does that tell me? That tell me that you want control and you don't care what the race is. So the powers to be, as they call them, don't give a damn about race. As long as they keep that power structure and keep us divided, divide and conquer, baby. That's what it's about.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, just to piggyback off of what you were saying. Strategic, I don't think it's just the minority Black areas. I think it's anybody that's underpowered, because I'm also starting to notice in some of the rural areas, they're doing the same thing. So the same thing that they're doing in the inner cities, they're letting them loot their stores until they go out of business. Because once you're in the rural area and them stores go out, they're making you drive further away to go do your stuff too. You're talking the stores are going, you're talking some of those hospitals are going, so I do feel like it's that median income that's falling right at poverty line or right underneath that, those communities are the ones being affected.
Somebody said a message to me in the chat. You guys just put it, says strategic, where do I fit in then? I'm too white to be Black and I'm too Black to be white. So where do folks like me fit in? This is a small conversation we're having. Some of you have never watched my show. I'm not some pro-Black, what do they call these guys? Like Hotep people. That's not me. We're just having a conversation. So I don't want anybody in the chat to think that I'm the barometer of what is Black. Okay. On my show, my message is we need to stop race baiting. We need to stop race hustling. We need to stop putting white people down and because their great grandfather owned a slave, and start loving each other for who we are now and move forward as a stronger America. But we're having a deep conversation, so we're trying to flesh things out. So the only answer I could give you is that you're an American, and I would treat you as such. you know. But I hope nobody's taking from this conversation that I'm the hotep guy on the panel trying to, you know, damnate white people. No, not at all. I love my white brothers and sisters.
The way I look at your take is basically giving a understanding of why Black people feel the way that they feel. That's how I interpret, which is basically how we come up with solutions to remedy this. So that's how I'm perceiving it. So I hope that's how everybody else in the chat is perceiving it. Because let's face it, people want to get the perspectives of why are Black people so angry? Do you know, can whites fit in trying to fix this problem, whatever, you know, all of that stuff. So in order for us to even get there, you have to understand my story or Black people's story in general on why they feel how they feel. Once we have that conversation, then we can move forward. But go ahead, Ms. Lamb.
I think that's what I'm gonna just jump in real quick. Was the point that I was making? It's a town hall conversation. You know, and we all have to have thicker skin and deal with the realities of it, not vilify, you know, Caucasian people now, and that was their ancestors 3 and 4 and 5 generations before, and they're not like that. And I get all of that. But we can't omit the truth. And so we can't just leave that part out for the sake of feelings, because then what happens 2 and 3 generations from now is by the time our kids are in school and go through school, there will be no history. So I don't think that it's, you know, productive to omit it all. But we do have to encourage the truth and not just bits and pieces. And like Erica and like you guys were saying, the same Black history folks that I've been learning since the 90s and 80s, and we done talked about all of them. And, you know, I do agree with you, Wally. I wanted to go back to what you're talking about, basically trades and introducing trades to the kids when they're in school. I love a trade school. Anything that's going to help truly prepare them for their future is necessary. And when it comes to, I'm gonna call it this town hall stuff, and like strategic eyes, you were saying that they are white people, or the powers that be, Wally, that you were saying, and strategic eyes, basically, they're narcissist controlling people, whomever they are. If they happen to be white, or we don't actually know all of them. There's some that are posing just like us, and they have the same agenda. So, you know, at the end, that's the truth. So
macro to macro.
Yes, because the whole overall, it's an agenda. You know, so it's just while we're having these conversations, you know, it's just putting it all on the table. And then if I invite you to my house, we gonna have the real. You know what I mean? Like we have to have the conversation.
Absolutely.
Now,
Thomas makes a good point here too. Thomas Anderson makes a great point. He says, and the race of the establishment people changes based on what portion of the earth you're at. Yeah. So, you know, you got the establishment, China. Yeah.
That is so true. And I was thinking about that because I'm like, yes, we're talking US based because that's where we're at. But think about it. If you were in Africa, that makeup going to be different. If you were in Korea, that makeup's going to be different. So yes, it's always the same. That's why I said, for me, I call them either the 5%ers or the 10%ers, because depending on where you are, you're right. They wholeheartedly change.
This is my board here. We use this for unveiling reality with the show I do on Wednesdays, where we talk about how the mind works and how mind control works. And these veils of perception that we all live into, like we're all born in this first veil, right? And then you either become fully committed to this veil as reality, or you reject it because you see the lies, you see the manipulation, you start moving forward, right? And you get into this other conspiracy kind of realm right over here. And people usually dead end about right here, but we're in this place right here. We're divided. There's manufactured division. There's demoralization going on here, right? There's a stabilization going on here, fear, subverting the kids, changing the culture, right? Behind all of that is this cycle of abuse that's been going on. And this hits the topic that Miss Lamb was just talking about. And it's right on target with where we're at right here in the conversation, right? You can see the prison industrial complex down here, right? You can see the troubled teen industry. Well, if you guys don't know about the troubled teen industry, I've been working with these people too, and finding out that these teens are being basically sent away to these schools as a last chance, and they're being abused worse than they were in the other places. So they come out there even more broken, right? And this corruption that goes on from a very young age sets in motion this cycle of abuse, which gives these people we're talking about right here, this global ownership class, this cycle of control. Because they've been abusing us for so long, and they set all the players out, right? You got the criminals that come out of this because they've been broken and they don't feel that they got a place. You got the go-alongs that come out of this because they just want to get by and survive, and they're in the middle of the herd. They're trying not to get noticed, right? And then you got the people that are very, very malicious and want to rise to power and crush the people beneath them, right? And it comes out looking like this, in my opinion. It comes out, you got the ownership class, the infrastructure class, which is all of us, right? And the despotism class, which is the people that are struggling at the bottom. Right now, people may call that different things, but for me, what I call it is, right here in front of us, because it breaks it down into a very simple thing that when you put these two classes together, this class ain't got nothing going on. Right? When we heal division and we can bring people up, they got nothing going on. They got no reason to be there. They got no reason to be there, and that's what they don't want. That's why they divide us. That's why they go through all this trouble to break us from the young age and all the way through into our adult years, and make us live in this fear and this numbing out, checking out. Some people get into cults, some people get into drugs, some people just get off the grid, get off of it and go into this new agey thing. That some people waiting for UFOs, some people lose their identity, some people get into this feminism thing, some people get into this racism thing. Some people become social justice warriors. They're all falling into this stuff right here, right? And they're just perpetuating it by enabling it. And the whole trick with narcissists and everybody else is they cannot abuse you if they do not have the enablement. And that goes for these guys right over here too, right? If they don't have the enablement, they cannot enslave us. They cannot keep us divided, right? But we enabled them by not seeing the real system that's going on beneath all of it, right? The cycle of abuse, the drug trafficking, right? All this institutional psychology, the social engineering, telling us that one group's bad and the other group's good, or the other groups are victims, right? And then these are the people, go get these people, right? But they don't see that the government's in the middle of all of us, all the way through. And at the very bad end of it, the very other end of it, you have these narcissistic personality disorders that is an epidemic on display right now. We see it everywhere. We see it in relationships. We see it in politics. We see it everywhere around us, these narcissists that prey and troll on people. They just can't leave everybody else alone, right? And then they get into the really sick ones, the pedo rings, right? The people that are like doing the really bad stuff, the human sex trafficking, all this stuff that's going on, right? And then we go into that, we figure out that they've been doing this for a long time. They've been experimenting on us, right? They've been experimenting on all of us, different ways. That they have these intelligence agencies that really run the control system and funnel the money and launder the money into these systems that break societies. Like, you guys probably are familiar with the fact that the Marxists tried to infiltrate the Black community early on, right? And they tried to go in through the churches, right? You guys know that history. So that's again another form of abuse that's going on. Everything is about abusing the young to break the future. Right. And when you have generational corruption, you control reality. And that's what we're talking about right here, is about unrigging the game by calling it out so that we can be winning reality together. That's what we're doing right here. So I just wanted to show you guys this thought process we do on my channel.
Yeah, that was excellent. That was excellent. Yo, I just want to say, strategic, man, I give you credit for being on the platform and everything, because I know your situation. That's why I see yourself fanning yourself, yo. Thanks for toughing it out, brother.
Yeah, my AC broke down on the first floor. I tried to fix it.
But they appreciate that. See, I know strategic guys through V Radio, and V Radio is a friend of mine, and he's the one who introduced me to strategic guys a while back. And we did a benefit for him to help raise money for a ramp to go into his house because he's having some health issues. And strategic guys was great to come on and be part of that. So it's great seeing you again, man. I'm happy you're here. I'm sorry about your AC.
It's all good. It's all good.
V Radio, man. V Radio definitely got some great content too, man.
So let me ask you guys a question real quick.
Yeah.
Where does and it's very sensitive to say this. I actually saw it on your chart. I'm actually afraid to say it, but where does the L, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera,
it's on the other side of the chart.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I was going to say that we're about a solution culture here, so that's where we are. And you see how you guys are right there. You're part of it. You're part of the solution culture.
What you call the Rainbow Mafia?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
part of
say
that
it.
control language area.
Yeah, it did not. I did not say those words.
No, I know. That's what
You're all
that's
good.
what whatchamacallit say.
Mhm.
Maladjusted say. That's what maladjusted say.
So like, we see this, this is a big part of the Black community right now, whether people want to talk about it or not. When you look at, some of the biggest proponents, the people, the loudest voices, the more famous activists, the people who make the most noise, the majority of them are African American, especially from the T community. Like how it, because it seems like out of nowhere, like before COVID, it was a gradual thing that I think everybody respected. Like, hey, why aren't we allowing people to get married? That's crazy. Like, if you love somebody and you don't mind getting dicked over, like heterosexual couples losing half of your property, hey, come join the party, and we fixed that. And now, like it came to a point where gradually, organically, the right thing was being done by that community. And then COVID came and everything just started getting crazy.
Oh yeah.
We're defying science. We're being asked to just change society and culture counter to what most people would assume is common sense. And we see that the Black community seems to be the center of it, really, in my eyes.
Well, I'll tell you, man, I'm in Atlanta. So.
Yeah, and I could be biased
Erica
because I watch a lot of like
Atlanta.
Black tea, a lot of like gossip channels, so I could be biased, but it seems like we're the center of it. Like how do you guys feel that play into this amazing flow chart that When in Reality put up here? Like, how is that affecting, how is the system using this to somehow control us or augment our reality or the way that we think or perceive ourselves in this society?
Right there.
So
right there, because it's in our schools now.
I was
Go
about to
ahead. Go
say
ahead,
you
Erica.
have to control the young. The problem is that's how they get them, because if you get them while they're young, they don't know anything different. It's not that you're trying to fight any other ideology right then and there. So they're targeting younger and younger so that they already have their next group of people already established. Is how I'm going to say it. I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but that's the easiest way. It's, hey, the 18 and overs aren't coming over to our side. So what are we going to do? We're going to start infiltrating 6-year-olds or 10-year-olds, wherever, because I don't know where that falls into the education system quite yet. With the kids that I have, their schools haven't taught them that yet. So I don't know.
How does that help by changing their gender? And who's this Scott-free freedom guy? This guy's hilarious.
Yeah, dude, Scott's awesome. He's awesome.
I look at it as population control.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you can get to the kids when they're young, because think about it. These kids can't make, like, it's a lot of things as kids. You can't drink when you're young. You can't, have your license till you're a certain age. It's certain things that you can't do when you're young. But you can have a whole gender change when you're young. And in some states, they pass laws where if you don't help your child transition, it's a criminal offense.
Wait, I want to hear from Gary's do-rag. What's going on, Gary? What's happening?
I think he's taking it in right now. That's
I'm taking it all in. I'm just listening because I'm just taking.
I'm waiting for Gary
yeah,
man.
Yeah. So I think it's a a population control, because once you can attack the children, like Erica P say, now you're switching everything up where things are not traditional anymore. And when you don't have a traditional structure, communities get broken down. If the communities are broken down, there's less unity. With less unity, there's more control.
Yep, you got it. You nailed it. You see this clearly, man. And by the way, I will real quick. What you see in green and black here is what I've covered on my channel already. So these are all topics that I've covered and I've been through. So and well, the last thing I didn't get to explain to y'all is what we do here. It's called solution culture, and that's what you guys are part of, right? And this is the team. We're they don't even see us coming because they're over here doing their thing. They don't know we're doing this right now, but we're gonna come through with this kind of change the education to stop the subversive enablement, right? That takes away that their ability to control, have the cycle control that works so generationally for them, because they commit generational warfare. And if we understand, they always go after the youngest generation to change the culture to where they want it when they want it, right? To keep people living in fear and staying on defense so they never come together, to keep them demoralized, destabilized, so that they can bring crisis into their lives, so they can normalize their control structure, right? This is all part of subversion right here. These are all things we've covered. I just want to make sure y'all know that. I'll give you the floor, Miss Lamb. I just want to make sure you know that, and that you're part of what's going on right here. This repair in history with Thomas Sowell, the trivium education, putting logic back into education early so people know fallacies, so they don't fall for disinformation. That goes along with the media studies information that we need to have.
Overheated. Your phone overheated. Send me the link.
Oh, Gary. Okay. And then of course, role model leadership we were talking about tonight, and parental rights.
I'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
It went off.
Well, and this is the other thing. Like, I feel like
I see it. I'll send
like
it to
in
myself.
general with me, I worked in the banking system. I started early on in the banking system, and I could see how there was that control thing. I can remember working in the credit card division at one point. I can remember these credit cards being, given at every major school event. And now all these kids came out of school with $30,000 to $50,000 worth of debt off of getting a credit card for a free T-shirt or getting a credit card for a water bottle.
I fell for that. Yeah, this is part of this right here. This where I have it. Dang it.
In 4, I think that was 4 because I was looking over there. So, but I'm like that's the other thing. Like I see, the progression of that too, because it's like, hey, when do we really teach these kids literacy? You don't really teach kids literacy in school. Every once in a blue, you'll find a kid's school that'll go, hey, we got one course, couple of weeks. We'll tell you how to write a check, because I can remember you had to learn how to write your signature so you could write a check back in school. If the kids aren't even learning how to write in cursive right now, are they really going through all of those extra steps? And think about it. It's so much different than writing a check in this day and age. You're talking, hey, do you know how to open up a crypto account? Do you know how to? I'm like, these are all things that my kids are going to have to know how to do, because that's the wave of the future.
It's asking me to log in.
So, but I'm like, it's so funny to me that was one of the things up there, though. I was like, yeah, I know that area too well.
Yeah. They didn't teach us anything about financial. I learned most of my money knowledge after college. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I read Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. It was the Rich Dad Poor Dad that really taught me a lot about how the money works, right? I was like, why wasn't I taught this in school? I came out of college not knowing anything about money and how important it was. I was just taught it was the root of all evil, and that only bad people wanted it, and almost pushing it off, almost inspiring me to do less. And that shouldn't be the way people look at it. That's not the way I'm teaching my son.
That's why I think financial literacy is imperative to teach in these schools. I really think, because that's something that you're going to need, like, as far as to pursue further avenues of success in this game that we call life. Because I could remember me as a kid when I, 17, 18, whatever, I had no idea about financial literacy. I'll get a credit card, man, max it up, and I'm like, all right, well, no more money on it. It is what it is. So I went through like jacking up my credit and had no knowledge of what the heck I'm doing, so to speak. Like, and these are things that will help a lot of people, because like I said, one of the main things that trouble people in society is money. Money is a big root when it comes to society, as far as like a lot of the turmoil and stuff that's going on.
But think about it, it's not even just the money though. It's the establishment of credit as well. Because that's the other thing. A lot of times people are using other people's money to make their own money. And people don't always teach them that. So it's like, oh, you want to go into this kind of business? How many times are they opening up a business? How many times are they legitly putting the paperwork in correctly for them to be able to do that? And I think that's, a big thing for me because that was my area of expertise. I was in banking. I went to college, to not just to learn about business, but that was the stuff that interests me. I've always felt like those were things that I didn't always know. So
But
it was like,
see,
okay, let me, take
you
the time to go into that.
you picked up them skills because you were in banking.
But
But
I
if
also
you
but I also had parents that were into those fields of area too.
there you go. See, me, when it came to my parents, they came to America. All it was work, make money, pay bills, and that's that. There was no guidance on certain things. And I think there's a lot of people who they don't have that guidance from generation to generation to generation because they never had that financial literacy, so to speak. So if you don't know what you're looking for, it's kind of hard to look for that thing. But once you kind of know what you're looking for, or you had somebody break this down to you, now you know what you're looking for, and now you know what direction to go to look for XYZ. Just think about this YouTube thing. Getting on YouTube, I didn't know about cameras and 720p and microphones. This does
And
this.
trolls.
Yeah, I didn't know nothing about this. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
eventually, when somebody pointed me in the right direction, then I'm like, okay, now I know what to look for and how to go about it. But if you have no knowledge about it, you ain't gonna look for nothing else. You ain't gonna look for it.
And you're right. And
Mhm.
I think that's the other thing. People aren't they're not giving the knowledge away as freely as they should. If you're trying to teach my kids everything else, you could have introduced that earlier on. I didn't have to wait to get out of college because think about it. You got more and more people who don't go that way. So if they don't go through the college system, how are they going to know that?
Now,
All right, now, okay,
here-
Gary, now, hey, what's up, man? Oh, wait, I've been waiting for you. I keep feeling like it's about to happen. It's about to happen.
No. Listen, when I'm ready to hit, I'm a hit. I'm just taking in and listening because y'all are making some very, very powerful points. And I'm formulating a solution because everybody's saying what they, the parts that they have their concerns, right? And I agree with all the concerns, right? I agree with the whole idea of, taking out the stigma behind it. But just that, right? We got to talk about it because this is something that can happen. They'll pick the color blue to make the color blue wrong. And anybody walking around with color blue eyes, they can be considered, blue eye white. That that's what they call. That's what the the Islam people call them. Blue eyed white devils. So you have people saying that you get now that stigma's out there. So what are you going to do? You're going to say that person is not experiencing racism because they're white. How can you possibly say that? And you're picking something that they had no control over it, and you're hating on that person because of it. So yeah, we're going to have to find a way to make it work where we understand. Like I can be racist against you because blonde hair. I could be racist against you because you're big boned. I could be racist against you for whatever reason. I could be racist against you because you look better than me. It doesn't really matter. Hatred is hatred. So yeah, we need to really work that up. But winning, you smacked me in my face with that chart, man. I was like, you blew me away with that. And whatever I had to say, I was like, dang, the way you detailed that and you broke that down was amazing. I want a copy of that if that's possible.
Oh yeah, man, you got it. It's a living document, so we're always adding to it, and the idea there is to break those veils down and break those systems down, so we just have reality. We just have the real deal going on. where we don't have all this mess playing with people's heads all the time and trying to hurt children from the day they get out, you know. It's just it's no way for humanity to be, and that's because we've let the bad guys be in control for way too long.
Let me ask you guys and gals, this on the panel. Do you think trust is one of the biggest things that's impeding us as far as
Yes. Yeah, we can stop you right there. Yes,
because we don't trust each
100%,
other
yes.
at all.
How in the world can we trust each other? Every time we see each other, something goes wrong. It's like so hard to trust one another.
Like, can I pull up this video? We played it on yesterday's live. It's a 2-part video. And what I was saying was what this gentleman did, we need more of this. But the problem is, where's the trust?
What's up, bro? Oh. Chill, man. You alright? Alright. It ain't gotta be like this, man. Don't gotta be like this. We can talk. I just wanna go on by my way. Hey, just chill for a minute. Just let me talk to you, alright? I'm gonna put mine down, you put yours down. Let's talk. I just wanna go on by my way, though. Hey, everything gonna be alright, bro. All we gotta do is talk, alright? Hey, I done been there, dog. I done been on that side. All you gotta do is talk to me, dog. What's wrong, man? What's wrong? A lot of things going on. All right, you gotta put that down, though, so we can talk. And let's talk about what you got going on. I promise you. Bro, I ain't gonna call the police or nothing. But you gotta talk to me, all right? You can't do it like this. Let's just talk, bro. You wanna make some money? Let's talk about making some money. All right? All right?
Now play the second one.
Boom. Yeah, they dropped the gun right there because you know that's what is on his mind. That's like that dude's awesome right there, man. That dude's awesome.
This ain't the life you want to live, bro. Come talk to me. I'm putting mine down now. Come on in. Come talk to me, man. This is my brother, man. All right, my little brother. Let's talk about your little brother in the house, dog. Let's get from out here. All right.
Bro, he talked his back on him. That trust right there was crazy. You literally just took everything that I just said and just I don't want to use that terminology, but you get what I'm saying, man. Yeah. Oh, that was beautiful.
But see, that's real though, bro. I don't think that's real.
I don't know if it's real, but
I don't think that's real, man.
Here's the thing.
That's real.
I don't know.
I don't think it's real, bro. I think that shit staged, kid. If that shit was real, it'd be on every fucking channel out there, bro. That's not real. It's not real. I don't think it's real, man. You got to prove that.
You're the police officer, so
yeah, exactly.
The way that the camera staged, the way the angle was on,
it's real crisp.
Says Mad Chris is black and white during the middle of the day.
Well,
nobody got a black and white camera in the middle of the day.
I can tell you that. Yeah, I can tell you that the camera itself, you see the green bars, that's facial recognition. So that's AI in the camera. And if he has it set on night vision, then it's going to come across looking like that in the daytime. So I've seen cameras do that.
Why say Roku on the bottom? Which is
maybe they recorded off Roku.
I think
because you have an IP camera that comes through, and then so what he's doing is using the Roku to look at all of his cameras at one time. So he goes back in and records it. But what's to say? We'll give it a 50-50, right?
Yeah, but all in all, this is what our forefathers understood. They understood they're gonna suffer as far as taking the chance to make things better. They knew going in they was gonna get attacked by dogs. They knew it's a possibility they could get beat. They knew it's a possibility they could get killed. They could get shot or whatever. But they were willing to take that risk because it was needed. I
that's
get
a risk
where you're
far, Wally.
I understand. It's a risk.
I think we got to start earlier than that. We have to shoot to try and get before that kid gets to that point. You know what I'm saying? Because that man put too much on the line for that guy.
Oh, I get that. I get that 100%. Like I wouldn't have turned my back or anything like that. But
the dude was walking. This was staged, man. Look how the dude was walking with the gun in his hand, and he turned his back. Say again.
Let's watch it again. Let's watch it one more time.
Okay.
Oh, you want me to play it back up?
Yeah, let's roll through it. Now, hey, first of all, hey, Gary, somebody in your backyard doing that, right? How do you come out there? How you come out there? You got this nice shiny shotgun.
How do I come out there?
Yeah, how you gonna be?
Wait. Let me ask this question.
All right.
Do I live in New Jersey or do I live in Oklahoma?
Let's just call it Jersey.
I live in Jersey.
Yeah.
You gonna be coming to jail?
I live in New Jersey.
They're gonna be coming to go get them. They're like, look, you in Jersey, they're gonna go get you.
I feared for my life. He came in my backyard. I didn't know what to do.
You gonna go to
I
jail?
have no other choice but to go to jail.
You gotta wait.
I'm not
you gotta
calling you
wait for him to.
first.
You gotta wait till
I'm
he
not
comes
There's a
calling
Jersey
you
girl right
first.
there. There's a Jersey girl. No, so you ain't asking no questions.
Excuse me. No, be kind to Jersey.
I'm about to say, I'm a Jersey girl.
Born and raised in Jersey. Very much so say anything we want to say about Jersey. I know I will.
No, she's from Jersey. Says that's a joke. That's Jersey back at you right there. She grew up in Jersey. She's Italian, so she knows.
I'm about to say I'm not gonna be so nice. I'm not even gonna tell you. I'm not gonna be that nice. I don't even think I would have walked that far into the backyard. I done saw you come up.
Boom.
I ain't asking no questions. I'm gonna shoot first, and then I'm gonna have to ask later.
I get that 100%. But what I'm saying is, if it was a situation like this, and you actually spoke to the brother instead of blasting him away, I feel as though it's more impactful or more of a flex if you actually spoke to the brother as opposed to shooting.
Correct. And I wholeheartedly understand that. But in my mind, there's no talking. You trying to take what I done worked hard for. I'm sorry. I can't.
It's easy to say that till your feet in the fire. So I hear a lot of people talk like you, Erica, but not many people's built for it.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say. You have to be somebody who's open to it, or you have to have been somebody who
I
is
agree
used
with Wally
to
though. I think Wally. I agree with you, Wally. I think the talking is good, but the way that it happened seems staged to me. And even if you look at the way that the porch is set up with the chairs and the garbage bin and the grill, it's almost like they made an enclosure so that they can have a scene, a stage to set it up. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't look right. With all that space back there. So I think that Wally works for the deep state. And he's over here feeling propaganda.
No, this is what I will say. This is what I will say. I know me. I'm not built. I'm not about that life. If somebody, even if I had a gun for protection, if somebody came, I would just be on some just leave off the property, whatever. I'm not looking to shoot them. So me, I would try to go the route of speaking things out as opposed to blasting them away. Blasting them away would be a last resort where it's like, dude literally forced my hands.
Right.
But I'm not coming out like, yo, get off my property. I'm gonna shoot. Like, I'm looking to de-escalate as much as possible.
I agree.
That's just
I want to say this one thing. I am not a proponent for violence. I'm not saying that I would shoot the guy. You know, what I'm saying is that the initial conversation is correct. Yo, listen, I got my gun, you got your gun. When the guy's like, yo, I just want to get out of here, I'd be like, all right, just go, bro. You know what I'm saying? But when it gets to yo, let's talk, whatever. And now he's turning his back. And this guy who is unstable and has criminal intent is walking behind you with his gun still in his hand and he never put his gun away. That's a problem for me. And you know
he does bad form right there. As far as turning your back.
He shot you in your back. And the thing is, these kids out here have been so programmed by this institution, from the flow chart that you showed. These kids have been indoctrinated. They are the product of of our worst nightmares. These Chicago kids is not going to say, all right, let's go talk. Chicago can be like, all right, yo, he let me in his house. It's not even a robbery anymore.
Free game now. Game.
It's not a burglary anymore. It's trespassing because he let me in his house. So, I could steal whatever I want, and it's a misdemeanor instead of a felony. That's law talk. But still,
he heard something. Here you go, Mr. Teach guys. You see, right here, he's trying to hit the door, right? You see something, that green box is trying to identify, and that's the AI right there doing that. And then to try to catch something. Yep, let's try to catch something here.
That could have been.
And then watch this. Is he following him? No, I have a security system like this. It's not Roku, but it's close, right? It's got
Well, and
the
that's
AI
what's-
detection. on it.
I've seen 1,000 of these security systems. Part of my job is looking for video. I'm not trying to argue.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
okay.
we
Oh,
both
no,
on
I
the same
understand.
level. I'm a video
Yep, yep.
expert, basically. That's how I solve cases. So you
Okay.
can easily edit this in there. You can. I see the boxes tracking and all that stuff. You can easily edit it in there. It does not seem real to me. I could be wrong. He's gonna have to provide some sources on this one. I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
Okay. No, yeah. And you know what? The follow up
Look.
would be good. Like when he went inside the house, what they talked about. That would be good too, because then you could look at the
Yeah.
psychology going on there, the bilanguage, so on.
Man,
yeah.
you
But
spoiled
even-
all
but
our
even-
fun strategic.
Even if it is,
That's
even-
why nobody
even-
invites me to these lives, man.
But-
Man, look.
This ain't
But
the life you want to live.
I'll say this though, even though if it was staged,
Mhm.
that's still a good look that's still a good look showing, hey, try to at least talk about things and find out what people are going through, like a moral to the story, so to speak. Now, this is goofy, this part where he turned his back.
No,
But as
I-
Yeah, I
far
was
as
waiting
the-
for something to
I'm not
happen.
with
as
you.
far as far as
still
the
not with you.
dialect, the as far as the conversation going
Good
of
shit.
like, trying to get to the bottom of things, so to speak, or to try and remedy what he's going through or understand why he's doing XYZ, staged or not, I like the message that it presented. That's what
This
I
reminds me of like the
Yep.
Indian channel that has all those like feel good videos.
Yeah,
Hey,
or Tubi. That's the new one. Yeah.
Oh, I love me some Tubi. Don't play with no Tubi now.
We like
Yo,
Tubi.
having some good
yo,
movies.
You gotta be
yo,
careful when you have kids. Tubi's all that, you know.
Yo, the recent, I know we sidetracking, but the recent funny Tubi I saw was when you had a woman who was shooting at her dude behind the tree. So you see the guy behind the tree close his eyes, and he's like, then he like throws the bullet, like he like aims his gun like he's throwing the bullet, and then do some matrix and warp around and hit her, and she like falls. Yo,
I didn't see that
joint
yet.
had me
What was that?
dying, yo. Yeah, Tubi's movies.
Poor man cable, baby. Tubi.
You know,
Oh,
he
man,
might
I
have had his
like
camera
that.
set up there
I
so
like that.
you take on the steaks from the couch, right? So you can see his mistakes are done from the couch.
Yeah.
Does he still have his finger on the trigger right here? I was going to ask Mr. Strategic Guys if he still
What's
has his. Does he looks like he still got his finger on the trigger, doesn't he?
No, he never had his finger on the trigger.
Oh,
I
no?
can't really tell. I'm
No, he
really
never had
far
his-
away.
He never had his finger
Okay.
on the trigger.
Oh, okay. It's sitting up there. I see it right there. Okay. All right. Just want to make sure.
I mean, personally, for me, once he would have raised the weapon, I'd have had to kill him, only because that's my training, and I could not live with myself if he took me out because I did not follow training. You know,
You
what I'm saying?
couldn't live with yourself if he took you out. Listen
Yeah,
to what you
well,
just said.
well, I know.
Double negatives. Double negatives right there.
When I said that, I'm thinking about all the worst things. You're right, but take out could mean like I'm paralyzed or like I'm incapacitated, and then he goes and does whatever the fuck he wants in my house with my kids and my wife. But
Yeah. We
But
got an
you know,
obligation to make
gotta
it home to our
face-
kids.
He didn't even take the mask off his face.
Yeah.
Like, yo, dude, take the mask. Let me see it. Yo, all right, we about to go in the crib. Like, take your mask off. Let me see your face. Look at me, man to man. Like, he ain't do nothing.
Yeah.
Dude look like
Yeah.
you about. Come on, man.
But you know what?
Oh,
I do have
propaganda.
I got a rebuttal for y'all though. I think that's more of a hey, when you listen to the beginning of it, it's like, hey, I was, I could have been you. I don't think women do that as much. Because, like you said, if the guy came out and I was the one standing there, no, I wouldn't ask no questions because I don't know what to even say. I might not have been able to correlate to him.
You probably would have just. I think as a woman would have just came out and shot. No questions asked.
Because my
That's
thing
what
is, it's nothing that I could have told him that would have changed his mind. If you was coming to my house to come take my stuff, you saw me come outside, you're gonna go take my stuff. There's nothing that could have changed his mind.
I think it's a different degree too, because for a woman, she's thinking you could grape me or whatever, something to that ilk. So I think that's why a woman would be more on guard to just ask questions last and shoot first, because there's so much other egregious things that can happen.
I agree. I think this is a conversation that could only be had with a man. Like, I don't even think we would even factor in what a woman would do, because based off of this story that we're seeing from Walls P.
Wally Walls P. No, it's all good. The cat's out the bag now. So
based off this story you have presented to us, he's related to him on a man-to-man level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is, you know, even if you're a female, females have tough lives. I worked in a female prison before. You know, they some of them is just as gangster as any dude. Still, this is a unique story that only two men could relate to. You know what I'm saying? So if a woman was out there like, come on, you could be my son, you know, let's go ahead and talk, I'd be like, she crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wouldn't make no sense. If this is real,
She
then
got shot.
Yeah, or she could have got anything. You know, it's just ridiculous. I don't know.
I will say this. As much as the knowledge you just dropped, strategic, you ruined the discussion of that video.
Of course. Listen, nobody invites me to the party. I've embraced myself. I am a YouTube disruptor. Okay, I'm like Tucker Carlson on Twitter. All right, it's over. I'm everybody's enemy.
But nah, that was great insight though. That was great. All jokes aside, that was great insight.
Nah,
though.
man, I was feeling all warm and toasty inside, man.
Fuck that video. I'm cursing.
Like,
this
yo,
is not
wait
gonna
a
be
minute.
monetized.
We reaching
Fuck
our
your
youth,
video.
you know what I'm saying? We can do better, guys. We can do better.
Yeah, nah,
you hear that, Erica P? Strategic just said matter of opinion sucks. With the
look, you got to take them lumps sometimes.
Money. I'm messing up your whole video. Nobody eating nothing. Fuck this video, bro. It's a wrap, son.
Look, it was only on this one video. I will take the L on this one video.
Look, man, strategic been handing me mad L's, yo. So we gotta cut it out now. All right, we got chill. We got chill. All right.
I will say though, like, you know, I'm such an optimistic person on us coming together as a country and kind of fixing what's happening.
Yeah.
But lately, you know, I'm starting to lose faith in humanity, man. I don't know how we could turn this around quickly. You could turn anything around. You throw enough time at it. Throw enough money, time, care, compassion, whatever. God, you could turn anything around. But it's like, how do you, like, there's so many kids who are in real life walking around like this dude in this video. Like with no morals, no consciousness. I mean, not no conscious, but no self-conscious. What is the word? No, why am I brain?
No self-control.
No self-control. I don't know. Just Presidente bear that's messing
no direction, no purpose.
No nothing. But no empathy. That's what I want to say. No empathy.
No empathy.
You know, and empathy just covers so many different things. Just a love for yourself and others. And they don't have remorse. They don't care. They don't take the time to think about how hard you worked to get that little deck. You know, with that $150 Home Depot grill. They don't understand how much that Home Depot grill means to you. They don't understand how much it's going to cost you to replace that glass door. That those glass doors cost $2,000-$3,000 to fix.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you're not paying with the right insurance company, they might hit you with the clause of the third line of the fourth line that it's not covered because you didn't have a fence. And that's why the perp was able to come in and break your glass. Even though if you had a fence, they could have hopped over the fence. Doesn't matter. They don't care.
Right.
So it's like, how do we fix this in the short term? Don't tell me 50, 100 years, because then that's a given. We can fix anything in 50 to 100 years. But how do we fix this in the next 2 election cycles where we don't have all these zombies walking around looking for brains?
Well, that's part of it. Well, that's part of the next part of the solution. That is that, one, the role model leadership, and two, creating new culture, like what Tim Pool's talking about, and creating new culture, right? They need to have somewhere else to go to admire the people besides the stuff that's going to drag them down. You know, the activism and the gangster lifestyle and the indulgent celebrity lifestyle, throwing money around like it ain't nothing, driving around in cars just to show off when you ain't got your shit straight. You know, things like that. That's the stuff that people need to be like, that's not cool. That's not attractive. What's attractive is a hardworking individual that's going to take care of my family. What's attractive is a solid woman that's going to take care of my family. You know, it's going to be there for me when I'm sick. It's going to be there for. Going to grow with me.
What is attractive
good.
is them cheeks. Hold on.
But
Let's keep it a buck.
Yeah.
What's attractive is them cheeks, and them cheeks like fast cars. All right, let's keep it 100. We're talking about young men with no guidance.
Right. I could dig.
They don't give a rip because they were raised to not give a rip.
Right.
So let me ask you this then. In a sense like that, do you think women can have a profound effect where they start saying, you know what? I see your face. Hear me out. If women have a profound effect of saying, yo, this bad boy mentality, we're not accepting this no more. We're looking for
Good
the
luck.
hardworking
Yes,
man.
good
Before the
luck.
women chime in on this one, I want to say something. I used to say that same thing. I used to blame women and say, oh, they're the gatekeepers. These women don't have daddies teaching them to respect themselves and what to look for in a man. So it's our fault because we're not raising these daughters. That's what I was the dude saying, oh, it's women's fault. You picked the bad baby daddy and all that stuff. And then I started talking about domestic violence on my channel, started having these women call in and speak to them. And then I became a police officer and I'm talking to them in the field. And then I realized the reason why they chose that bad boy is because they never had a good role model from the start. Their dad was in jail. Their mommy was messing with gangsters. That's all they knew. And one woman told me something profound because I did a story about a man who murdered his girlfriend. And his baby mama was a victim of domestic violence and literally fled the state, disappeared from him. It came out the woodworks. Remember that one?
I remember that. We was on that show.
One, right?
We did a collaboration. Yep.
Yeah, there we go. You guys were on that. You supported me, and I appreciate you for that. You know what she told me? She said, when you growing up in a hood, in a dungeon like that, you automatically gravitate toward the bad boy because that's the guy that's going to protect you. Because when you walking home from your $6.50 an hour job at 2 a.m. from 7-Eleven, the rapist and the murder, they're gonna say, don't touch her because her man is a badass and he'll kill you if you rape her or you harass her or you sexually harass. So you get that protection from being with the baddest guy on the block. We don't have and she didn't have a father to teach her, you know what I'm saying? And these were beautiful women. The woman he killed was gorgeous, and the woman who was on my show was gorgeous as well. They could have, is nothing to stop those ladies from going to the Columbia University in New York, NYU, with a nice tight dress on and grab them an engineer, but they didn't know any better. So I think that in the end, it falls on us men that we have left the home and we are not being role models for our children.
Because at the end of the day, women are looking to be led. Like, why do you think nowadays you see women trying to be like a man? Like everything that a man do, they try and reciprocate them things. Men are what is it? What's the word? Sexually liberated. So now women want to do it. Men are, career opportunities, yada yada, out in the work field. Women
all
want to
that
do
goes into the women don't have any fathers to teach them how to not be like that. Like when you have there's a problem. The problem is that there's no men around. Just the problem, because that bad boy wouldn't have to worry. She wouldn't have to worry about getting with a bad boy if she had a father walking her home from work, or a big brother walking her home from work, or a group of men who all surveillance that environment because they all have daughters, they all have sons. You won't have that issue. Notice when there's dads around, crimes do not really happen nearly as bad.
But guess what, though? We're always going to have this problem because the women outpopulate the men by vast numbers.
Okay, well, that's another conversation to have. Yeah. That's more deep.
But it is
going right now. But
it is. But yeah, man. Again, it all comes down to our communities. That's what it comes down to. The communities. And I'm like Strategic said, I'm in the mindset of thinking at times there is no help, but I honestly think there is no help comes into the hoods or the trailer parks, stuff like that. Because the only way you can elevate yourself from the hood is to move out. People don't try and fix the hood. If they want out of the hood, they move out. You don't go to the hood and be like, yo, man, you can't hustle in here anymore, whatever, yada, yada. That's their territory. They're going to run you out, kill you, whatever the case may be. So most cats, if they want to get out of that environment, they leave. The hood, I believe, is going to be what it is. And there's no, I personally think there's no saving the hood. I think that's just what it is. But the hood
there's no
seems
saving
to
the trailer
be,
parks either. You know, there's no saving the trailer parks
Well,
either.
and that's what he was
as
saying.
sad as it, let me just
he
say
would- he
this.
would
Let me
compare
just say
them
this
to
last
each
part.
other. Yep.
The problem is the hoods and the trailer parks seem to be the loudest voices to depict certain groups. And I think that's where the dilemma comes in, and it builds that I can't trust people anymore because of that environment. Because if you grew up in the suburbs or upper class, people don't have that mentality of I can't trust you. You go in upper class, people leave their doors open, garage doors open, the whole nine. The whole community trusts everybody. But even when you move out of the hood and move to those areas, you're like, whoa, why are these people leaving their stuff open? Like, this is insanity. You don't even want to communicate or give too much information because you feel they're in your business. And that's where the issue is. The trust from people that were living in hoods, moving out, whatever, you still have that distrust. So if we can't trust each other, how are we going to build these communities? And I think that's where we need to start, finding how to trust one another so that we can actually start this process of building these communities and not be controlled by the 5%, as I'll call them.
Well, two things. Two things on that. I'm putting this board up real quick again. Two things on that is this. One, we need to tackle this narcissism epidemic that's going on by putting countermeasures in early, teaching kids about this toxic behavior early and how to reject it. Okay, and how to keep that out of their lives, how to walk away and ghost these people, so that they become social pariahs. Right now, people are lifting up and they're helping this toxicity grow. They're enabling this narcissism, even here on YouTube, and the micro, and then in the macro with these big, larger activist groups, and going after kids and saying life doesn't matter and all these things that don't matter. Right? They're putting these thoughts out there early. So this epidemic that's going on psychologically is part of that problem. You know, so that's a big thing right there. Is getting it again. I'm sorry, it's a little generational, but we're dealing with generational warfare here. So yeah, we got to start with the kids. And we got to start whittling down this narcissism problem, because it really is a toxic film on everybody's skin walking around that we got to deal with all the time. And these are the people that create the non-trust in everybody else. You know, there's good people and there's bad people. What's that? I'm trying to think of that thing Chris Rock was saying that was so funny, but I can't think of it right now. But he was talking about how, you know, there's just good people and there's bad people out there. It doesn't matter. You know, who they are and like what they look like, or either they got that mindset, that corrupted mindset from abuse. Again, back to the abuse thing, because narcissists are created out of abuse, right? So you're back into the cycle of abuse here, right? There they are, right there, sitting there ready, and this just happens over and over again throughout all these different institutions and ideas that go on. They're abusing us all the time. It takes a corrupted person and a narcissistic person to abuse an empathetic person, a person who's trying to help them, who cares about them, who understands how to feel, because they can't feel. And that's what that Talking Trash and Truth has a channel about. And we've talked a great deal about this one particular topic. And, you know, it's all around us. We deal with it all the time, even here on YouTube. And it's a sad thing, but we have to address this because they are thriving right now. They are thriving and getting away with murder. And people are just enabling it. They're enabling the drama. They love the drama. They forgive the bad behavior. Shouldn't be forgiven. Should be a social pariah, right? We should. So that starts with the kids, right? So we got to teach them early on not to accept this behavior and not bring it into their lives. then we start avoiding a lot of these other problems they fall into too. They don't turn into bad kids that are being driven by media and bad ideas. They don't turn into prisoners by committing crimes thinking that they are going to get away with it, like it's on TV and shit, right? They run into strategic guys. It's all over.
Yeah.
Is he in here? Okay, yeah, he's in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said he'll be right
He
back.
said he'll be right
Yeah,
back.
there's so much. There's so many volumes that you're talking about. Like we literally just had this experience not too long ago about this guy. You was on the live, right? Matters of Opinion. Well, I don't know if you was
I
on the live, but
watched
you
it.
saw the
I
video.
watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's this guy calling himself Big Old Texan on freaking TikTok, and he's doing exactly this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't have any real information. I don't know if this is real or not. I don't know if there's no confirmation or anything. Allegedly, he's been scamming people. Allegedly, he scammed an organization, and they're fighting to get him off of social media because he's consistently scamming people, allegedly. And I'm like, all right, cool. I want to find a way to take this man down the proper way. But he's doing exactly this. He is using people emotional traumas to get what he wants out of them. And he don't give a rip. He don't care. So it's like, these are the type of people you kind of have to excommunicate, because they'll use anything to get their advantage over you. You'll think they're telling the truth because they'll fake it. They don't care.
Like BLM?
They'll fake it 100. Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll tell you whatever you want to hear.
And that's what Strategic pointed out to. These are people with no empathy.
None.
None. It's been abused out of them. I believe we all start out and it's at love and light. Maybe there's that 1.01% that comes out psychopathic, right? And that's just that's just an unfortunate thing. They come out without being able to feel and have empathy for other. But you put two kids in a room, doesn't matter what color they are, you put all the colors in there, right? They're going to play and have a good time and giggle and laugh and be creative and love each other. That's our natural state. And see, and it's not until we grow up and we get corrupted by all this shit that changes. That's why kids will tell us all the answers, and that's why they're so important to protect. And that's why they need to have good role models like y'all to look up to when they're growing up. And that's the strong point is that get the education in, get the preventative measures in, but also put the role models out there in front and highlight them. And it's not highlighting these activists that are talking about some stuff and trying to get people hurt, breaking things, telling everybody that they're victims. Those people getting the loudest voices because they're being echoed through the establishment, through the system of abuse, right? Because it is abuse to treat people like that and to make them start believing that stuff at a young age. Kids, innocent kids, love and light, sitting there trying to just love the world. You've seen your children, the expressions on their face when they see something for the first time. That's the most priceless thing in the world. I mean, it's just amazing to see that joy of the world once again through their eyes. And it's like, man, that's what, as a father, empowers me, that's what makes me do this stuff right here. Because I see that in my son's eyes, and I don't, and the fact that I had to watch a bunch of people that don't give a shit about the world take that some of that light out of there with me having to be honest about the world to protect him. Dude, I don't I have a hard time. I'm not gonna forgive that shit. I mean, I got to do something about it because I'm a man and I'm a father, and it's my duty to protect him and try to make a better world for him. And my last amount of my years, that's what I'm going to try to do. Make it better for my family generationally. My life's been lived. It's time for me to do what I know. I'll put this back, and I believe that's how you guys probably all feel too in some way, right?
Yeah.
And that's what role model leadership's about, man. It's about taking that and saying that this is what the purpose of our life is now, is to be good role models, to help people that need it, wherever we can fit, wherever our specialty is. You guys have your specialty and you're nailing it. And that's why I wanted to have you on, and I want to do more things with you, man. And I want people to know and see that this is what it's about right here. This is what it's about right here. And this is how it's got to get done. And it may take a long time, but we got to look at it generationally, man. I'm looking at it for my kid's sake and his kid's sake.
Yes.
Point,
And just to answer Strategic Eyes question, in my opinion, the way it's going to get fixed is through the younger generation. As long as us as parents, we're teaching our kids to grow up and, not be racist. Don't teach these racist ideologies and stuff like that, and basically guide them to being contributors to society, and not see color, but people as individuals, as Americans, respect others. That's when I see that change will start to come into fruition. It got to start with the younger generation. That's
Can I
that's
share
what I think.
something with you guys?
Yeah.
I want to share my screen if possible. It's my first time
Yeah.
doing it. But I read this on Instagram, which is, as you guys know, is geared towards young people. We only use it because we're promoting our channels, but this is like a young people's place or space. Let me see if you guys can see it.
Winning Reality gotta play it, gotta put it up.
Yeah, here it comes.
So you can see it? Okay. How are we supposed to get to where we need to go when we have rhetoric like this? Like, this guy is basically saying that he's not taking this African-American male. I think his name is Dwight Watkins. And he's not taking his daughter to see Barbie because too much whiteness. Mind you, anybody who saw the Barbie movie knows it's a very diverse movie that kind of, talks about this stuff, you know what I'm saying, and glorifies cultural diversity, the whole nine. But he hasn't even seen the movie, but just because the two leads are white people, and mind you, Barbie's a white product. It started out with a white doll, so that's what it is. You can't diversify everything, you know what I'm saying? But they did do it in this movie, but he automatically makes it a race thing. Like, what do you guys feel about this?
You know what?
Let me go first. Let me go first. Please let me go first, because I'm such a Barbie girl.
I just want to say this one line, and it's yours. Strategic, I guarantee you, this is the same individual that wanted all white people to go see Black Panther or an all-black movie.
Well, before Erica says what she has to say, which I'm very curious to hear, one of the first comments when I first read this said, yeah, I agree. I'm just going to send my kids to watch Black Panther instead. And the first thing that popped in my head is, all right, Black Panther is a character that was made by a white guy who's now owned by Disney, which is a white corporation, who paid these actors a finite fixed salary. So all residuals, all trademarks, all proceeds from toys and everything for these black characters go to this white company. So what are these people talking about?
Exactly.
What are they literally talking about?
Exactly.
There's like only one person in Hollywood that's black that's doing it. That's Tyler Perry. And his first few movies was white finance. And finally, after he made his millions, he did the right thing. And he has his own studio now. He's the only guy. Him and Oprah.
Yeah.
Those are the only two people that have their own studios. What's going on, Erica?
Okay,
yeah,
so
go ahead.
I'm a Barbie girl. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I grew up with Barbie. I know in the beginning, all my Barbies look like her in the beginning. And then eventually it migrated to somebody that looked like me. But yes, I'm a Barbie girl. Yes, if it wasn't sold out where I am, I probably would have took the girls right then and there. Because my thing is, yes, you're right. People go, hey, no, Barbie has always been diverse though. Once they started making all of the other Barbies, I was happy. Do you not understand? They got a Barbie for just about anything. They got Barbies in wheelchairs. They got black Barbies, African Barbies. You got space Barbies. And I'm not even gonna lie, I got quite a few of them still from the early 90s, still sitting in bins, because those are things that were near and dear. I was a Barbie girl probably until I was about 13, 14 years old. I was a late bloomer giving up my dolls because I had younger siblings. But I also made my girls Barbie girls. Do they have some of the other toys too? Of course. But I like the fact that I can go and look up and go, what are you into? Oh, you're into gymnastics? Here's your Barbie gymnastics. Oh, you're into race cars? Let me go get this race car Barbie. So I feel like there's a Barbie for just about every person. They even got full figure ones that look like me now. So no, I feel like Barbie is always, they've tried to mask that market to be as diverse as possible. It took them some years to get there, but they got there. And I feel like, to me, that is the worst thing that you can teach. Because think about the doll companies that's out. There's not really that many doll companies that are out creating dolls for people. So yes, when you start going, I'm just not going to go see this, but you're going to support other things, then what are you teaching your kids? You're teaching them, hey, I don't care if this is what you like. I'm telling you, I'm not taking you. And then it's going to be, why are you not taking me? Oh, because they don't look like you. Did you watch it to see if they didn't look like you? Because yeah, they're going to throw a Christie or some of those other ones, because that's what the black version of Barbie was years ago. They all had a separate name because it was hard to translate into that, hey, black Barbie, white Barbie. You wanted to stay away from that. So you had to give everybody a name.
See,
you guys want to know? You guys want to know the white take would have been on this? Let me just change around the words real quick.
Yes.
Y'all agree? White father refuses to take daughter to see Barbie because the trailer was overwhelmed with wokeness. You don't have to search for woke content; it's already in your face. Correct. That's the way we see it. I mean, that's honestly that everybody I know would have looked at this movie and has talked about this movie. First thing out of their mouth about it.
That is woke.
Yep.
Go ahead, baby.
I just want to make a quick statement, and then I'm going to take my leave for the night, y'all. One area for me, like we were talking about earlier, everything is starting at your home as parents. So for me, something inside of me is like, You ever saw an advertisement and it just didn't sit right with you?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what used to be so innocent, I was a Barbie girl too, by the way, Erica. I had the black Barbie that her hair used to go back and her hair and all that. Because I grew up an only child too. So it's like every Barbie, every Cabbage Patch, all that. And it was innocent back then. But because of the agenda that's out now, Wellness, I don't want to say your name wrong. Our host for the night.
Winning.
The narcissist controls that powers that be. They're puppeteering everything and everybody. So I have every reason to believe that their hand would be in this too. Why wouldn't it be? If they're talking to kindergartners about gender dysphoria and confusion and whatever, why wouldn't they put it on the big screen? So for me as a parent, this is just me. Because the kids hear it so often in our home, not just from me, not just from my husband, family, but in our house, it's like, oh, they pulling something else. It wouldn't even be anything new to them. They would be like, oh, we're not going to go see that because it's some subliminal message or agenda, because we talk about this stuff. That's this one area. And then for me, just real quick to overhaul it when it comes to the community and lack of fathers and the mothers that are making the choices that they make, and because there was a man not there, for her to have a trajectory or a lifetime compass or whatever the case. This is something that is on that chart that you provided us with tonight. It has to start in our community, and this is great. And we need more conversations like this, but it needs to be in the conversations at home, in the neighborhood, with these young women and these young men. And I can't say, Wally, that I fully disagree with you. I do think that in the hood, it's like, you hope the best, but it's like it feels like there's no change in that. So I do get where you're coming from, Wally. I really do, at Wall Street. It's like we have to keep having these conversations at our house. And when I say our house, it's our community. Like that's what we do on a daily basis. At least my husband and I, we're constantly going at it, talking to people in our community. Like, you knew you should have told that girl she was wrong. You knew you should have told this dude he was wrong, and hold everybody accountable instead of just having them mimic everything they see in social media and whatever's going out there, because that's their world. That's not reality for us. And then we can start trying to gear our youth in the neighborhoods that chances are they won't get drafted. Chances are that'll never happen to them. They feed these lies to these kids. They get in school, they got really good skills in basketball or really good skills on the field, but chances are they're not going to be drafted. Not the majority of them. So that's where the trade schools come in. That's where reality and these real life skills come in. But it will start with our community. It will start with us having these conversations with, there's no Big Mom anymore. Big Mom was like, what, 35 now? Your grandmothers, where are they?
Mm-hmm.
Pop, he passed on. Now you got a couple of uncles and, whoever is willing to say what needs to be said and checking the mothers too. Because they didn't live the life, so to speak, in front of their girls, so then their girls are just repeating what they saw her do. We have to have these conversations. And I'm not sorry, but this is a conversation within the community. Then we can invite people to our house. Like, y'all be on the outside, support. What can you do? Just support and stay out of grown folks' business, so to speak, because this don't have nothing to do with y'all. This is a community issue. This was a systemic issue that was brought into our community, fed to us. We bit the apple. We took the, we took the bait. Mm-hmm. And now 20, 30, 40 years later, this is what we're dealing with. It comes to stuff like this with this movie so this is nothing new. What's this dude? I forgot his name, but he did this whole crazy concert a few years ago where people was unaliving themselves and whatever. I don't know how we can say it out here. So he went to Egypt and Egypt said no, and they canceled his concert, and it was a no. It's certain things in pop culture. It's like there is a line drawn, and you do have to choose. At the end of the day, that's my opinion. Thank y'all.
Oh, man. Thank you. That was great. And hey, Miss Lamb, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for being here with us tonight. I've long since enjoyed your work with Gary, and I think you guys are wonderful.
Good job, Miss Lamb. Mm-hmm. Definitely appreciate it. But that post was just the problem I have with that post is even people who don't have that mindset, they'll see it. It'll start to like resonate in their mind a bit or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's got 11,000 likes.
Yeah, it can affect people who wasn't even thinking about that. Because you got people who was just like, yo, I just want to go see the movie. I know Barbie, yada, yada. But now you're bringing in an element that shouldn't have been in there to begin with. It's a movie. It's just for entertainment. And all I could think of is just imagine the blowback if the shoe was on the other foot.
Do y'all remember Tank Girl?
I agree.
Y'all remember Tank Girl?
Tank Girl?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
That was a ridiculous, goofy movie.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
She was Barbie-like.
Oh, yeah.
She was doing all kinds of ridiculous stuff. Ain't nobody cared then.
Mm-hmm.
Why we care now?
Exactly.
Barbie is a freaking... You was into Barbie. Of course you wouldn't know nothing about Tank Girl.
Yeah.
Barbie, listen, men know Tank Girl because that was the closest to... Listen. That was the closest to a Barbie we were going to ever get. You understand me? Like, Tank Girl was about this girl that was just all pretty and all girly and just really airheadish, but was very, very cunning. And she lived in this post-apocalyptic world, and she was just doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And it was an awesome movie.
Wasn't she smashing a kangaroo dude or something like that?
I can't remember the full movie. I only saw it 4 times, but the point is like it was a very interesting take on what Barbie would be if it was something that happened. She'll still be looking for Ken, but Ken blown up, so it's nothing you could do about it. You know what I'm saying? She walking around. It was. You guys got to watch the movie. It's an awesome movie.
Check it out.
But it's too funny that you said that because I'm looking at the comments. They like G.I. Joes. Well, guess what? My Barbies had G.I. Joes. I had a brother, so I didn't have too many.
Yeah, but this is before the war. See, no, your G.I. Joe Barbie is before the war. This is a G.I. Joe Barbie after the war. You understand?
No. What I'm saying is, you know how they usually go Barbie goes with Ken? No, my Barbie had G.I. Joes with Kung Fu grip. Because I had a brother. So I didn't have a Ken playing with Barbie. It was, this the closest thing you gonna get. You gonna get these action figures.
Barbie, you gonna be with Cobra Commander, and that's it.
Yes, right? And that's what it was. Because with having, you know, he had to have his boy toys. So it's like, well, we gonna play together. So your boy toys and my girl toys.
Wasn't there multiple Barbies? Yep. So it's like, okay, this Barbie you go with.
But
Cobra
I had
Commander.
A lot of them. He had a lot of G.I. Joes.
This Barbie you go with Serpentor. This Barbie,
like I remember the one with the red. Like I can remember the one with the little red face. He had a red face and had a little cover. But I'm like, think about it. If you had multiple kids in a household, a lot of times they were going to play with each other anyway. So you had to figure out, you know, what the alternatives was for a boy. I couldn't give a boy a Ken doll. Well, you could, but that really wasn't what you was giving a boy in the early 90s. You was giving him Action Jacksons and G.I. Joes and, you know, some of that kind of stuff. Like I can remember some of them had like tanks and, you know, their bicycles. They didn't have as much stuff as Barbie. Like I had a dream house and campers and all types of stuff. They didn't have all of that. But
we
at
didn't
least
need it. We built our houses.
Well, and that's what it was. As a boy, you kind of built your own stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I had Skipper too. Yep. Skipper was Barbie's little sister. You also had the babysitter club with that too.
Don't be living next to an abandoned apartment building. Good Lord. Boy.
Now y'all having water out the windows. Y'all throwing water balloons and all types.
You had some fun in there. I wasn't like that strategic. Don't look at me like that.
Nah, I'm getting ready to get up out of here.
Yeah. I just have before you get out of here, I just have a question, right? And,
sure.
I guess strategic, you can answer first before you split or whatever.
Okay.
That post did have over 11,000 likes.
Right.
So
because people want to believe it's true.
But one can argue that that's what a lot of black folks think.
That's what we want to do, but that ain't happening.
There was a lot of people in there who were African American. You know, their avatars, their pictures are black, or we assume that they're black.
Yeah,
who were disagreeing. You know, that's not a 11,000 likes is a lot, but it's also not a poll.
No,
For all
it's
we
not.
know, 60,000 black people looked at it. It was like, this is bullshit, and just chose not to react to it. There's also no dislike, so we can't see what the ratio of people who don't like
That's
it
true.
are. But I gotta say that yes, you know, we talk in the community. We have friends. We are part of the community. There's a lot of our family members and our friends who think like this, who are brainwashed into believing that, you know, everything is about race. And, you know, I think this was a great conversation. So I'm gonna segue my answer into my exit. Only I wish I could stay longer, but wifey and my daughter's at a Beyonce concert. So it's just me and my son. And my son is 4 years old. For those of you who don't know, he has been so patient with me. I told him, Daddy's doing a live. He's like, okay, I'll watch my iPad. But look how long we've been on live, and it's almost midnight.
Yeah.
So I got to do the right thing and go put him to bed and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
I got you, brother.
Awesome.
Family comes first. Brother.
Absolutely.
Always.
I just want to say, strategic. You make me want to be a better man.
and what I gotta say, strategic is I still don't appreciate how you messed up my video, but
man, I ain't going front. I'm mad as hell about that too. I was all googly eyed. I had the heart in the eyes, bro. I had the heart. I was like, oh, that really happened? Wow.
Like, he was like, yo, we sitting up here watching the video, and he's like, I'm looking at. He's like, oh, that's fake. I was like, damn it.
I'm here to expose the
But
establishment.
it's all love though. It's all love. It's all
It's
love.
a little kid around the corner with a red balloon and licking ice cream, and here comes Chachiki with his big ass needle and a freaking hand of freaking dirt, and he's walk up, bang, and throw the dirt in the damn ice cream. Ah, enjoy.
When you're on a panel with a guy named Win in Reality, you need to live in reality. Okay.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
All right.
It's all love, brother. It's
You're
all
too
love.
logic for
man.
me, sir.
Now,
Strategic, thank you so much for being
away
here.
from me,
now, if you
sir.
guys don't mind, I would like to say my outro, please. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
I got to thank you for being here, sir, and please come back anytime. Absolutely.
Oh, thank you, man. The floor belongs to me anyway. Yes, thank you. Yeah, see this guy knows me.
Strategic. Wait a minute. Strategic. Nah, I'm messing with you.
Hold
Go
on.
ahead. The floor's
Strategic
yours.
back again. We have now taken over this live stream. Yeah. I want to see your beautiful faces. Put me with everybody else. I love you guys. So, one thing I really appreciate. First of all, I really appreciate this conversation. Really appreciated back in the seat with you guys, Wall P, Erica P. It's like the second time we did a Win in Reality. This can't be the last time. I'd love to come on the show. I'd love for you to come on my show as well. Gary, I love the show we did together. So happy to work with you again. Would love to do more collaborations with you. It's a great group of diverse Americans, all of us. It's not a panel of black people. It's a white. When in reality, you're Caucasian, right? I think so, right?
It sure sounds like it.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we're Americans, man.
I believe he said yes. He is.
Yeah, we're Americans. So this was great, but I think we need to have more of these conversations. And people in the chat were saying it right. We need to somehow find some way to usurp and upend this establishment. It's going to be very hard because we have tons of cities in America that are black run, like through and through. City council,
I didn't realize my mic was
police
off.
chief.
Sorry.
Oh, it's all good. Police chief, city council, mayor, the whole nine. And we see the same problems in those cities that we see in cities where the demographics aren't as such. We see the same suffering, the same despair. So whatever they've done is just entrenched deep inside of the culture. It's almost like you start out meaningful, and then somebody sits you down and says, well, you want to be the president, you want to be the mayor, you want to be the governor. Well, you got to play this by these rules, otherwise, then they just whip out this something on you, that makes people change who they are. But I think that it starts here, and if we keep hammering at it, maybe we'll get a breakthrough, and we can change this country for the better. But stuff like the picture that I showed you, it breaks my heart because all it does is perpetuate that hate. Because, like you said, Walls P, if it was reverse, and a white person had the audacity to say what this man said, everybody would be up in arms. But see, for me, this is racism too. You can't have it both ways. Just like black people can't say the N-word in my book. We had a historic debate on that, Walls P, about the N-word. You can't say, oh, only black people could say it. But I acknowledge that it is a word of evil. To my
defense, I agree with you. No one should use the N-word. I was just making a debate for those who have a voice of saying, yo, we should be able to use the N-word.
Right.
So
and
I just want to clear that up.
Definitely.
Devil's advocate, because I agree with you. That's why I said, yo, I agree with you. I chucked the win up to you. So
appreciate that. And no, you did something important because you made it a debate. If I'm just talking, then it's just me bloviating. But I feel like in this day and age, we've come to the point where we have somehow normalized black racism. And now, because black racism has been normalized, where we can now bite back at the oppressor and now be exactly what the oppressor was, in our words at least, it's now creating such a divide where I watched The Little Mermaid yesterday with my daughter, and it was an amazing movie. But everybody was mad about it because they changed it to a black actor. And I understand why people on the right were upset, but it's like it's so petty and bullshit, because I don't think there's any other actor, black, white, or purple, who could have done the part better than that girl, because she's an amazing singer. You could have got a better actor, but there's no black or white or Latino singer who could sing better than her. She's one of our top singers. You know, so it's like we're spoiling so much things for each other because we just living in this tribalistic world of us versus them and black versus white, and it's happening on both sides. And I think until we start acknowledging that it's on both sides, and I acknowledge that one side does have a little bit more power than the other side, but once we acknowledge that it's not right for a black person to say something like what this man said on Instagram, just like it's not right for a white person to say something like that, I don't think it's going to be even more difficult for us to set this country right. It can't be lopsided, in my opinion. Because if
a great point.
And my last thing is, if it's lopsided, you're always going to get a group of people who's going to be like, this is not fair, and I'm going to fight against it. And they're going to go to the extreme where
they always do.
This Barbie movie, black people, some black people going to say it's too white, even though it's diverse, and some white people going to say it's too woke, even though it's just a fucking movie about dolls. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Do you know how many movies back? Okay, we was just talking about, go take your ass to Tubi and look at the movies that's way back when machine and see how diverse it was then. It wasn't diverse at all. We had no problem with it. We used to make jokes about why is it that the black person always is the first to go? We knew he was out of here.
Then Hollywood caught on and actually started letting some of them live, but letting us know that it's a joke that they let them live.
Right.
It'd be a
That's the funny part. Movie, it was beautiful.
And they let the black
I loved
serious ass movie. We crying, and they let the black guy live and be like, "Yeah, black man lived this."
I loved it though. It was like breaking the fourth wall or something. I loved it.
Yeah, like dude, like I don't know what the solution is, guys, but we ain't gonna figure it out on this live. So I got to go and be a dad. I'll see you guys later. Yep. Thanks for the love and support.
Good night.
Yep, absolutely.
Have a good night,
strategic. Have a great night.
You too.
Definitely was a pleasure. But
are we wrapping it up now?
Yeah, I agree with everything he said, man. But yeah, like he said, until we understand one another and actually take blame on each side, that's when we can actually come to an understanding and progressing forward. I wholeheartedly agree with that 1000%.
I agree with that too, and also sticking up for each other in the right ways too.
Yes,
you know?
yes. See, and another thing too is I hate this concept of just because this person did wrong and is black, I gotta not hold them accountable and say, oh no, I'm black, I'm gonna ride with you, or I'm gonna pick your side just because of your skin color matches mine. No, bad behavior is bad behavior. Call it out.
Yep.
If I see one of my brothers and sisters, and when I say brothers and sisters, that's any race, black, Latino. If I see any of my brothers and sisters acting out, I'm going to call it out. I'm not just going to say, well, yeah, since that person was Asian and this is the American, I'm going to be on the American side. No, you was messed up. You need to apologize to that man. You need to apologize to that woman. We need to stop this indoctrination of, oh, just because this person is a representation of me, I have to back them up through hell or high water. And
we need to back up people that are holding them accountable.
Yes.
Whoever it is, you know,
facts
in every circumstance. And there's a lot of times people need to be held accountable and they're not, just because of what you're talking about. And at those times, that's when the role model leadership needs to step up. And then you have full support behind you. I don't think that's anything that's ever been thought about or done before. Maybe feeling like you guys feel like number two. You feel outnumbered by the voices that want the division, or that want the victimhood, or that are bought into the scam, right?
Yeah.
Those people, you know, and that you need to know that you have a support system too. So when you stand up to do the right thing, that, you know, there's a bunch of people standing behind you that believe in the same thing, and that we're all just one people. You know,
agree.
That's what I think that the role model leadership is about. You know, it's about elevating people like yourselves and others, groups around the country, around the world, elevating them, right? So they're the loud majority voice in that community, and that's who people are listening to. And yeah, it may be a challenge. We may have a lot of work to do, but everybody here, I think we're all on the same page about that, and you guys are on the right track already. You're already out ahead of it. You're way ahead of it, you know. And it's coming up at the right time when it's needed the most, you know. And so I I know if you guys have had a good time now, I've had a great time. This has been
Oh,
a
I
phenomenal
had a
show.
I had an
phenomenal
amazing
time.
time.
This was
Amazing
amazing, man. This was amazing. Can't be the last time, too. Definitely can't be
Yeah,
the
man.
last time.
Oh no, we've
Yeah.
already
You know,
discussed this. This is not the
Yeah.
last time. We're gonna be
Yeah.
bringing a lot more time. So we already had that conversation. You know how
Yeah.
I am,
Yeah.
Wally P. You know,
Oh,
I
yeah.
called this man. I contacted this man 15 times. I got the text messages. I was sitting here like, we're gonna make this work. And I know he was like, Dad, he keep getting on my last nerve. Why he bothering me again? Why you want to talk to me again? I told you we will talk at 8:30. I don't, Rick. That's what you said.
Yeah.
I want to talk
Yep.
to you more because I got more
no,
things.
I
we can
love
do
that
together.
energy. I love the energy
Yeah,
and
yo.
enthusiasm. Are you kidding me? I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Bring
Yeah.
it on.
I'm
Yeah.
Bring it
exhausted
on.
Yeah.
because I do things.
And
That's
you know
tired.
what? At the end of the day, it was well worth it. And I hope everybody in the chat found that it was well worth it also. I hope everybody in the
Sure
chat
enough
looked
too.
at
Yeah.
stuff, from a different perspective, maybe learned a couple of things, hopefully it opened their eyes a bit, maybe it gave a perspective of, oh, I didn't realize that's how this person saw it. I didn't realize how that person saw it. Hopefully it, bridged the gap, even
Just
if
a
it's a
little
little
bit.
bit, even if
Because
it's a little bit, that
I
goes
want
a
to say
long
something.
way.
All the young women, all the young ladies, women, and female folk that's on the live. I've done some bad. I've done some bad. Okay,
Yeah.
you might go and see some of my other videos and get lost. Put me on the big screen. I like that.
Yeah. Okay. There you
Listen,
go.
you might decide to go and see some of my other videos and ask the question, why is he always talking about women? Because my biggest problem. And I want y'all to understand quite clearly, you wouldn't be a problem if I didn't love you. I love every last one of you, but you're wrong in many cases. I know we wrong too, but y'all wrong.
Yeah.
We can only fix your wrong right now because it's your wrong that needs to be fixed. That's how I look at it on the relationship side, which is why I have that lovely young woman over there that keep me balanced. Okay. She makes sure I don't go all the way up. Baby, don't say that. No, don't say that. You're gonna piss everybody off. Don't say that. But can't. Well, is it a way I can say it where it won't piss people off? Yeah, but that definitely ain't it. And she will keep me in check. Sometimes a video might get away from me. It just get away from me. I hit the upload button too fast, and then by the time I figured it out, they done got 3,000 views, and they saying, Gary, I thought I knew you, and that's my fault. I just want y'all to understand that I love you. All right, so take me off the big screen. I'm done.
All right.
And
I was gonna say,
all I
you got
got
any last? We never got the last
Yeah.
words out of. Go ahead. Go on.
The only thing I'll say is the way I see things now was not how I saw things when I first got onto YouTube. I've been doing YouTube. Well, we've been doing YouTube for almost 3 years now. Almost 3 years. And if you go back and look at older videos and stuff, you're going to see I had a different perspective. But as I got to know people, speak to people, collaborate with other content creators, do some research, soul searching, it got to the point now, if I see something, I do my research just to see if whatever it is that I'm looking at, does it have some truth to it? Where did it
Right.
come from? XYZ. Once I started doing that, it opened my eyes and made me see the world from a different perspective. And this is the Walls P that you see here now, that has this kind of perspective on life. Because again, the victimhood mentality, I had that mentality. I did. I'm not even going to BS you and say, nah, I'd never had. No, but it took a lot of growth to get to this point. And once you get to that point, it's like mind blowing. It just opened your eyes. If you check on the channel, that we did a video that depicted how white people and other races go through the same type of situations with police officers that black people claim they're victims of. I suggest, check it out. I think the title is like the duality of law enforcement and with white people, something like that. But yeah, so again, subscribe to the channel, check out the channel. There'll be some things that you'll learn from, the whole nine. And hey, subscribe, check us out, subscribe to everybody's channel on the platform.
Absolutely.
Winning Reality, I appreciate you having us on, brother. This
Absolutely.
was definitely a phenomenal conversation, and I appreciate you, bro, and I appreciate your perspective too. And that graph that you had, oh man, mind-blowing, amazing, phenomenal.
Thank you, and I
Floor is yours,
appreciate you
ladies
being
and
here, man.
gentlemen.
Appreciate you. I
Appreciate it.
appreciate
Appreciate
you
it.
being here, man. Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate it.
And hey, Erica, you got something you want to say?
I'm gonna say I don't, because me and Walls P a team, so he usually do a lot of talking for the both of us.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you for having me on the platform.
Absolutely.
I'm the radio personality that get the juices going. You feel me?
Okay.
So she's
and I'm more
the
research queen.
Yeah, she's the research queen.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are great, man. I've really been enjoying your shows, man, and you guys are on over the target, man. Over the target on everything. I
appreciate it. Oh, we're
it.
definitely subscribed to your channel. I'm glad I was introduced, to you.
I'm gonna say both of us. Even
So,
though we're a team,
both
of us subscribe.
Yeah, both of us. Yeah. So,
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So definitely, I will be looking at your content. Definitely.
Awesome, man.
You know what you remind me of, Erica?
What?
You remind me of Sherman's mother.
You remind me of my Jeep.
No, stop.
You remind me of something, and I just can't think of what it is.
You remind me of my Jeep, 3 flat tires. You remind me of my house. I live in the projects.
You saw how I hit them notes, brother? I need to get a record deal.
It's too much.
But yeah, this was great.
Take us home, Winnie.
Take us home.
Hey, now Gary,
brother.
Now Gary, man, you haven't had a chance to really go off and say a bunch tonight, man. You sure you don't have something built up you want to?
No, I'm fine.
You all good?
I usually when I'm in a live, I usually sit back and enjoy and let everybody go, because I'm a content creator. So while y'all are saying things, I'm thinking about how I can chop this up and make it a video for everybody to enjoy. So when I have my points, I'm gonna cut in your points and I'm gonna cut in my questions. It's gonna be popping when I do it. Don't just relax. I know
that.
I gotta sit back and really. I do videos. Y'all do the lives. I do videos. Okay, I'm not a live person. I don't like to talk out of the side of my head. So I'm usually quiet during the live.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. The producer. All right, I gotta tell you what though. This is like one of those moments though. Get streaming with Gary Lamb, coming from when I first got turned on to your content, to really enjoying it, to seeing that thing in you, man, seeing that role model leadership quality in you, to actually doing a stream with you. It's been awesome, dude. I'm really happy to know you guys, and happy to have finally it's wild. I never would have imagined it when I first met you online, that I'd actually get to meet you and actually have a conversation with you like this. And it's one of those moments. Those moments you check off on the list and go like, oh yeah, man, I streamed with Gary Lamb, man. And I know that may sound weird to hear.
I'm nobody, boy. Like, what's wrong with you,
dude? But you're a great person. You're a great individual. I know. I know, right?
I ain't done nothing yet, man. Hold on. Let's stop. Let me make millions of dollars before you say I'm just honored to be around you. Yeah. Let me make some millions of dollars, okay?
Now, look, I'm just saying, honored to finally stream with you and get to have a conversation with you, man.
Let me get I'm trying to be real about it in the chat before you say I'm just honored to be streaming with you.
No, but you're a good man, dude. And that's what I'm talking about there.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm one of those guys that I love it. I love when I love when people praise me like that. I truly do. It's awkward. This is very awkward.
I had the same problem. I
gotta sound humble, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you piece of look. You know what?
Yo, I can't have no fun.
No, you cannot.
I'm
So you know me. You know me. You know me on a personal level. So you can.
This my serious face.
Well, hey guys.
Yeah, I gotta look like the two jokers on the balcony on the Muppets. All right.
No, that's not how they look. They be cracking the hella jokes. They be cracking.
They laugh,
the
but
jokes.
afterwards they're like, Like they got that. Yo, they got permanent mean mugging eyebrows. Like, word is born. Them dudes on the balcony be looking mean as I don't know what. And they old jokers too. Grumpy old men.
Well, I mean, we gonna be grumpy old men soon.
Yeah.
We're gonna be. Well, no, I don't want to be grumpy. I want to be happy.
No, I want to be grumpy. I want to embrace it. I don't want to care what people think. I just want to be get off.
Listen,
my
there's a
lawn.
difference between not caring what people think and being grumpy.
Yes, I want to be the get off my lawn.
Thank you, Tom.
I want to
appreciate you saying that.
I want to complain about everything. The paper boy threw the paper too hard. Somebody left water in.
Did it break a window? The
No.
answer is no. He didn't throw it hard enough.
It bent a blade of grass.
It bent.
And I'm offended.
All right, now y'all doing too much. Go on ahead and win and go ahead and close this
out.
Y'all doing too much.
All right, hey guys, thank you so much for being here. Hey, everybody in the chat and to our mods, thank you so much for all the great work you did tonight, man. I appreciate you, Suzanne, T3, all of them out there doing the great job, taking care of us. Everybody on all the other channels we're out. We're streaming like 4 channels, I think. We got My Rumble and a few other ones. Yeah. So I hope everybody crossed over and gave everybody else a sub from every other place, because we all need each other's support in this YouTube game here. And I will be back next week. Likely Tuesday for Tech Reality Tuesday with Space Power Monkey. And then of course we'll have Wednesday Unveiling Reality. Another show. I'm trying to debate what I'm gonna do with Thursdays. But hey, guys, I hope we can do this again real soon, man. And my schedule's open anytime you guys want to do this. If you have fun doing this series, we'll talk. But ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna be it for tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, and until next time, keep on winning.
It's time to take a stand and repair our history. Thomas Sowell has shown us the way. It's time to start winning reality. We've been divided for far too long. It's time to come together and be strong. We can learn from our mistakes and make a brighter future for everyone. We have the power to make a change. All it takes is courage and faith. So let's stand up for what's right and make history together.